March 21st, 2021. The second case is 21 CR 002-696B, and which is the same charge, battery domestic violence, from June 4th, 2021. This is going to be a plea hearing. You have been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Mr. Dennis Murphy. May I place you under oath? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the statement you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Dillingham, good morning. What's the state's offer for the two cases?
Good morning, Your Honor. For the first offer, position 1 on the add-on calendar, the state's recommendation that was agreed upon is 12 months to serve 6 days, credit for time served 3 days, balance probated, a stay away from the Waffle House at 8604 Roswell Road, no further contact with Shamela Haroon, and FVIP, which is going to run concurrent with the FVIP in the second case. So I will state the second case, position 2 on the add-on. The state's recommendation is 12 months to serve 54 days, credit for time served 27 days, balance probated. Again, no further contact with Shamela Haroon, a stay away order from 8200 Dunwoody Place, and the FVIP will run concurrent with position 1.
He doesn't have additional time, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
I'm served.
All right. Mr. Murphy, has your client accepted these terms, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID for both cases?
We stipulate to the facts and the venue and ID in both cases. This is the recommendation as we understood it. I think on my plea paperwork on the older case, I had 2 days credit for 2 days, and then on the second one, 50 days credit for 25 days. So just want to note that it is still a time served matter. He does not reside at any of those addresses, and he's aware of all the conditions as for the probation, and the probation is concurrent. Judge, we would just ask that the court consider waiving the first 3 months of supervision. He is employable, but it may take a few weeks to get back on track since he's been incarcerated since the middle of last month.
All right. Ms. Dillingham, have you conferred with the alleged victim in this case?
We did not get a chance to speak with her, Your Honor. We reached out and were unable to get in contact with her, but we would still ask for no further contact, as well as to stay away from her address.
All right. Okay, Francois, please unmute courtroom 2. Mr. Jack, I'm going to be asking you some questions to make sure that if you're entering a guilty plea to these two cases, that you're doing so freely, willingly, and voluntarily. First of all, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you satisfied with the representation you've received from Mr. Murphy?
Yes, ma'am.
Is anyone forcing you or inducing you to take a plea today?
No, ma'am.
And if you decide to enter a guilty plea to these both cases, you do understand that you will be giving up your right to go back to court and have a trial in a court of law.
Yes, ma'am.
Will not have a opportunity to be represented by counsel, to be able to confront your accuser, examine witnesses, challenge the state's evidence, present your defenses if you choose to. Excuse me. And have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to 1 count of battery domestic violence in 21 CR 001-486D?
Guilty.
How do you plead to 1 count of battery domestic violence?
Guilty.
Well, to 21 CR 002-696D. What's his name?
Guilty.
Excuse me. I'll accept your guilty pleas. Your sentence is as follows. The sentence is going to be concurrent. That means you'll be serving probation for both cases at the same time. For the first case, you're going to be given credit. You have to be required to serve 6 days, credit for 3 days. So your jail time is concluded for that case. For position 2, you're to serve 54 days, Credit for time served 27 days, 12 months probation. And so your jail time is concluded for that case as well. And if you have no other holds at the jail, does he have any other holds, Mr. Murphy?
Judge, I believe he has to return to Sandy Springs for a traffic ticket. So he will, so he's maybe with them for a day or two.
All right, no later than, so let's see, today is the 23rd. You have to report to probation no later than March 7th, 2023. And your attorney will make a note of that. You'll report to the probation office at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta, where you will begin your probation time. While you're on probation, you are to have no further contact with Shamila Haroon. You're to stay 200 yards away from her. You're not to communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. So if she's changed addresses or if she's working at a different place, you are required to stay 200 yards away and not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. Do you share any children with her?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so there's no reason to communicate with her or have any contact with her whatsoever. You are to stay away from the Waffle House at 864, can't remember the name of the street. It was 864 something.
I'm not sure if it was Mount Vernon
Here it
Road
is.
or not.
My apologies, Your Honor. It's 8604 Roswell Road.
Roswell Road, okay, thank you. Right, you're to stay away from that location. You're also to stay away from 8200 Dunwoody Place in Atlanta, Georgia. Both locations, if you go back to that place, these places, you could be arrested again and also end up serving the rest of the time for these sentences in jail. In both cases, you have to complete a domestic violence intervention program. You have to begin that program within 60 days of being released. I will waive your probation fees for February, March, and April, and May. That means by April 1st, by June 1st, 2023, you're to begin paying probation fees. But in the meantime, you have to complete the domestic violence program. Like I said, you have to begin within 60 days of being released. It is a 6-month program and you're to attend all weekly classes. No, you're not allowed to possess any weapons or firearms. Any questions?
No.
No. Okay, that concludes this case. Thank you.
Position number 10 on 4 North, Mr. Casey.
That's all I have, Judge.
All right, Mr. Murphy, have a great day. Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor. Ryan Walsh here on behalf of Mr. Joshua Cassie.
All right. Is Mr. Joshua Cassie the individual at 4 North?
Yeah, it's him, Your Honor.
All right.
Judge, we're here, I believe, just because he remains in custody on a $2,000 bond that was set 2 weeks ago on the 9th or maybe the 10th after he was arrested on the 9th. I was retained by his mother last Thursday. I've spoken with him multiple times. She lives out of state, Jacksonville, Florida. He is 25. He's lived here since he was 7. He was homeless at the time that he was arrested. And we've kind of discussed the process. His mom would like to help him get released. She just cannot pay the $2,000 that they're bonding, they're asking for at this time to release him. My understanding is he has no felony history. I don't believe he has any misdemeanor or felony convictions. And we're just trying to see what we can do about potentially getting bond modified so that he can be released. His mom's going to help him find housing. And then we have discussed, and I've discussed with the accountability court, potentially putting in an application for mental health court, which I believe Mr. Cassie wants to do.
Has he been evaluated?
He has not, Judge. I just heard back from them on Tuesday afternoon. I went to see Mr. Cassie yesterday morning. They're working on getting me the paperwork so that it can be filled out.
All right. This is Joshua Cassie, case number 23 CR 0000835E. Mr. Cassie has been accused of simple battery from February 9th, 2023. He has gone through his initial appearance, at which time he received a $2,000 surety bond. Mr. Cassie, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say during the course of these proceedings, your statements can and will be used against you. You do have a right to an attorney, and Mr. Ryan Walsh is your counsel, as he has just announced his representation. Ms. Dillingham, there is a motion to modify his bond. Do you have a response?
Your Honor, we would ask that the bond remains the same. The state did send over a plea offer, and I don't believe that that was addressed, but we would ask that the bond remains the same. If there is any mental health evaluation, we would ask that take place. We can't really make a change to the bond recommendation on with a mental health evaluation.
All right. Do I have a pretrial officer on the Zoom?
Judge, can I just want to set there. I entered my appearance last Thursday. Any offer may have been made to prior counsel. I never received anything. I would have gone over it.
That's fine. That's what I
Mr.
presume.
Cassie.
So I'm just addressing the bond issue right now.
Okay.
Ms. Jackson, good morning. Do we have any priors on position 10, Mr. Joshua Cassie?
Good morning, Your Honor. The defendant does not have any prior arrests on file, nothing in addition.
All right. And Mr. Cassie, I understand that this is a financial hardship on the bond, but considering the condition of Mr. Cassie, what other programs is Mr. Cassie supposed to be in if he is needing some kind of treatment?
Judge, he does have, and I've kind of explored it both through the accountability court. I also went to the city of Atlanta municipal court, because they have a homeless court that actually, if it was a city ordinance, could have helped him kind of get all of these things. His mom is going to help him with the housing, and then he does have treatment providers and medication that he can get back on. And then they also told me at the Atlanta Municipal Court they have somebody that will help me with him to find employment very quickly. They've got some companies that they work with, and they're going to help me out with that, to help him get that, so that we can start the process of getting him evaluated with the accountability court.
Okay, so right now I have an allegation that this incident apparently took place with healthcare providers at the Grady Hospital.
Your Honor, if I may, I can provide you with the facts.
Oh, no, I've already read the warrant, so I'm good. The other thing is, my concern is that he's residentially challenged. I don't have any assurances of placement, treatment, or anything to that effect. I'll be glad to reset the case if I have more assurances on these issues. But presently, I'm going to keep the $2,000 bond. I'm not going to modify it under these circumstances on the ground of financial hardship solely. So, Mr. Walsh, I do understand that you just came into the case, and you just filed your entry of appearance on the 16th of February. But Ms. Dillingham, I don't know if an offer is going to make any difference at the present time. Mr. Walsh, I'll be glad to arraign this case if you want to consider arraignment at the present time, or would you like to file a waiver of arraignment? And then
Judge,
he can be evaluated for mental health court.
yeah, I'm a little worried about filing a waiver of arraignment and getting it kind of lost in the shuffle here. So if we can potentially get it reset, and I can talk to Ms. Dillingham about options, as well as talk to his mother and see if we can kind of make any progress potentially with the actual bond that's in existence.
Ms. Chapman, what is the calendar look like for next Thursday? The SAT. I'm trying to find it right now.
Judge, that's a packed calendar for next week. It's pretty full.
Let's put it on an add-on for next week, And Mr. Walsh, I would recommend you reach out to Derek Howard to obtain the paperwork to see if you want your client evaluated by the appropriate healthcare provider at the jail, and also be considered as a candidate for mental health court.
Yes, Your
Put it on
Honor.
the add-on for next Thursday, March 2nd, 2023. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and Ms. Dillingham, Mr. Walsh, if you can put your email to Ms. Dillingham.
Yeah, I'm
In the
going to
chat?
chat her right now, Judge, so that before I leave, so that I can reach out and get hers as well.
All right, I'm gonna reset it to March 2nd for possible evaluation status. Also, if you make a decision to waive arraignment at that time, you can also do it or consider the plea. Okay,
Thank you, Your Honor.
thank you. Next case is courtroom 2. Who do I have, please?
This is gonna be position number 35, Mr. Pulley.
Mr. Pulley was Cobb outsourced, and we've just now interviewed him. Having Mr. Walker call our desk phone,
Melissa, I'm making you co-host so I can get off.
and if Mr. Walker would call the regular number over here on the desk.
Okay, I can give you a call, Mr. McLean.
Okay, so we're not addressing 35 yet. What's the next case then?
Well, me and Mr. McLean, we have 22 through the end of the calendar, so there's someone on the first half available.
It's gonna be positions 2 and 3, Mr. Banks.
Yes.
Okay. Is Mr. Dodie's available?
Yes, coming.
There he is. Thank you.
Yes,
One
Your
more Dodie's. Okay.
Position 2 and 3, Mr. Banks, is a conflict. The attorney is Owen Paul Lynch.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Excuse me. Okay. Is
that's okay.
Mr. Owen Lynch on the Zoom?
No, ma'am, this is Miss Champion. He's has a conflict this morning. He's gonna log in around 10 o'clock. He's in Judge Richardson Court at this time.
All right, Francois, we have to hold on positions 2 and 3.
What is the
Hold on. Positions 4 and 5, Mr. Bell. Hey, Lauren, you should have taken it back out or I'm gonna-
35.
All right, this is Mr. Anthony Jerome Bell, 22 CR 005-826B. Mr. Bell was charged with various traffic-related matters, including DUI, driving under the influence of alcohol less safe, from April 17th, 2021. He's got a second case, 23 FTA 117, in which this was a bench warrant from January 26, 2023 arrest. So I assume that case is going to be null trust if we move forward with the plea. Are we moving forward with the plea, Mr. Dodis?
Yes, Your Honor, it'll be a negotiated plea.
All right. Mr. Bell, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Dodis. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
I'm sorry, repeat.
I do.
Thank you. Ms. Dillingham, what's the plea offer for position 4?
Yes, Your Honor. This is a time served offer. It's 12 months to serve, 30 days credit for time served, 15 days, balance probated with the ADET and RR course, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And that's it, Your Honor.
So alcohol and drug evaluation, were y'all seeking a risk reduction program as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
And 40 hours community service?
We did not have the 40 hours.
So that's a no?
Correct. So just the ADT and risk reduction course, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons for this recommendation.
All right. I'm just looking at the plea offer that was sent by the state, so I saw.
That's correct, Your Honor. I apologize that it is supposed to be 40 hours of community service. It's a DUI we're referring to, correct?
Right, so there's certain statutory minimums that we have to comply with,
Correct.
and I'm just wanting to be sure if the state is waiving those statutory minimums.
My apologies, Your Honor. It is going
Okay.
to be the 40 hours community service.
All right, so I'm looking at this, and Mr. Dodis, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm looking at this, it says alcohol and drug evaluation, risk reduction, 40 hours community service, a $300 fine, 1 victim impact panel, and of course, no illegal drugs and alcohol and no weapons.
Yes, Your Honor, and that was my understanding before I met with Mr. Bell and I went over all of those conditions. So we are clear on what's required of Mr. Bell. We would also request for probation fees to be waived to help Mr. Bell get on his feet, as well as being allowed to switch to non-reporting status upon completion of all conditions.
All right, and Ms. Dillingham, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 charges on the accusation. Are we entering a guilty? Is he entering a guilty on all 5 charges?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Dodis, are you on the same page on that?
That's the offer I communicated to my client, and that's what we're prepared to move forward on.
Okay, and does your client stipulate to the factual basis, venue and ID for all the 5 offenses?
We do so stipulate, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Bell, just to reiterate and to make sure that you and I actually also understand, there are 5 charges on this accusation, and they are driving under the influence of alcohol, less safe, failure to obey traffic signs, signals, and markings, failure to maintain lane or improper lane change, failure to have license on person, and possession of an open alcohol container from April 17, 2021 in Fulton County, Georgia. First of all, let me ask you, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
Medication.
All right. You don't need to tell me what kind. That is strictly private. All right.
I don't know.
Okay. But having consumed that, are you still able to understand the proceedings and understand your attorney?
Yes.
Are you able to make decisions on your own?
Yes.
And have you understood that there are 5 charges on the accusation right now,
Yes.
including DUI?
Yes.
And you've spoken to your attorney, and are you satisfied with his services?
Yes.
And have you understood the requirements that you have if you plead guilty to these charges and what you need to complete while on probation?
Yes.
Okay. And you understand that if you fail to complete that, a probation warrant could be issued and have you brought back to jail to serve out the rest of the 12 months.
Yes.
Okay. So, Mr. Bell, has it also been explained to you that if you enter such a guilty plea to these charges, that your license will be suspended?
Yes.
And that it could impact your driving record, your insurance rates, any professional licenses you may have, any residency issues you may have, and so forth?
Yes, I don't drive no more.
All right. And please keep in mind that in order for me to accept your guilty plea to these charges, you would have to give up your constitutional right to go back to court in the future, have a trial or a hearing on these charges, to be able to have the assistance of counsel so that you could challenge these charges, challenge the evidence brought on these charges, examine witnesses, confront your accuser, and have the state carry its burden to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes.
Are you sure?
I guess so. I'm guilty. I don't. Yes. Yes.
Mr. Bell, is anyone forcing you or inducing you to take this plea today?
No.
All right. How do you plead? And let me read off the charges. How do you plead? To DUI, less safe, failure to obey traffic signs, failure to maintain lane, failure to have license on person, and possession of an open alcohol container.
Guilty.
Your sentence is going to be applied to all charges. It's going to be 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days. The remainder of the time, which is about 11 and a half months, you'll be on probation. While you are on probation, you will complete an alcohol and drug evaluation and submit yourself to any treatment that's required. You will attend and complete a risk reduction program. You will complete 40 hours, that's 40 hours of voluntary community service, and you can do that at any nonprofit agency. You must pay a $300 fine and attend and participate in one victim impact panel. For the rest of the 11 and a half months, you're not to consume any illegal drugs and not consume any alcohol and not possess any weapons or firearms. Your probation will begin next week. You have to, I see Mrs. Thomas here. Ms. Thomas, he's going to report next Thursday, March 2nd. Would that be all right?
March 2nd?
Yes.
It looks like, yes, it's on a Thursday, so yes, ma'am.
All right. So, Mr. Doties, your client will be released by then?
Yes, Your Honor. Just to clarify, would it be possible for this court to waive any of Mr. Bell's probation fees? And can he switch to non-reporting status?
I'm going to waive his probation fees. He's going to be reporting every month.
Understood, Your Honor.
All right. There is no waiver or there's no non-reporting status. He must report every month, beginning with March 2nd, 2023. He must report to probation before 3 p.m. at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. He's not to consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. He needs to let his probation officer know what kind of prescription medication he's taking. He may be subject to random screens for drugs and alcohol, so they need to be aware of what kind of medication he is consuming. He will begin his, he must complete his alcohol and drug evaluation within 60 days of being released. The risk reduction and the 40 hours community service can be completed during the 11 and a half months. The $300 fine must be paid within the first 180 days of his probation, within the first 6 months. That's the benefit of getting his probation fees waived, so there is no excuse of not being able to pay off that fine. But he must report to probation every month, and failure to report can result in his probation being revoked. Do you have any questions, Mr. Bell?
No, ma'am.
The second case for Mr. Bell is null prost. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Number and address. Oh, that's the right, sir. Thank you.
Position 4 North, who do we have, please?
Positions 8 and 9. I think we're waiting on the interpreter for him. I'm not sure.
Do we have a Spanish interpreter?
I don't think we're gonna be able to get a Spanish interpreter for today.
All right, this is position 8 and 9. Who represents
Your
Mr. Dotis?
Your Honor, this is my case. Both me and Mr. Casimiro's trial attorney requested a Spanish interpreter a few days ago. This is a time-served offer. If there's any chance we could get one on, I don't want this to hold Mr. Casimiro throughout the weekend.
I understand. Ms. Champion, is there a possibility if you can reach out to anyone? We will hold this case until the end of the calendar.
I will have Miss Grace reach out to someone to see if they can cover, but who did you submit the request to, Mr. Dotis? Because we didn't have a request for an interpreter.
I submitted one to Mr. Jordan, and I believe I CC'd you, Ms. Champion, on Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. requesting an interpreter.
Okay.
All right, we'll try to get one.
We'll
Thank
try
you.
to get one.
4 North, I'm sorry,
Okay,
but
I'll
we
try.
have to hold on Mr. Casimiro until the interpreter appears. Thank you. Do you have anyone else at 4? Okay. Back to
Positions
courtroom
11
2.
and 12, Mr. Daniel.
11 and 12, okay. This is Robert Lee Daniel. He has 2 cases before us, 19 CR 0020278 in which he was accused of theft by shoplifting on July 29th, 2018. Second case is 19 CR 009-439A, in which he was accused of criminal trespass on November 21st, 2018. Mr. Daniel, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Dodis. This is going to be a negotiated plea. May I place you under oath? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ms. Dillingham, what's the plea offer for Mr. Daniel?
Yes, Your Honor. For position 11, the offer is 12 months to serve 34 days, credit for time served 17 days. That is balance suspended after the anti-theft course is completed. So an anti-theft course, this is a balance probated, but after the anti-theft course is completed, it would be balance suspended, as well as a stay away order from the Chevron at 221 Cleveland Avenue. And then for position 12, Your Honor, it's 12 months to serve 34 days, credit for time served 17 days, balance suspended. And then this is also a stay away order from the Old South Package Store at 365 Cleveland Avenue Southwest.
All right. Mr. Dodis, does your client agree to these terms, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
My client does agree. We do stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID. My client has indicated to me that he will have issues with housing upon release. He's clear on the probation terms and conditions he needs to complete before switching to balance suspended. But we would request the court to waive his probation fees while the balance is probated.
I'm going to waive probation fees for 2 months, February, March, and April. I need to know whether he can complete the anti-theft class within the next 2 months.
My client's fine with that. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. So probation fees will be waived up to and including through the end of April 2023. All right. Mr. Daniel, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes,
I
ma'am.
beg your pardon?
Yes, ma'am.
Has anyone forced you to take this plea today?
No, ma'am.
If you decide to plead guilty to these charges, you would have to give up your constitutional right to go back to court and have a trial. You will not be able to confront your accuser, examine witnesses, have the assistance of counsel to challenge the evidence brought against you, and to have the state try to prove the 2 charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to 1 count of theft by shoplifting and 1 count of criminal trespass?
Yes. Yes.
On the criminal trespass charge, position 12, your sentence is 12 months to serve 34 days, credit for time served 17 days, balance suspended. You're to stay away from the package store at 365 Cleveland Avenue in Southwest Atlanta. Balance is suspended, so you don't have any additional jail time on that charge. On the theft by shoplifting, your sentence is 12 months to serve 34 days, credit for time served 17 days, balance probated. You have, I will waive your probation fees for the months of February, March, and April. During that time, you should complete the anti-theft class. Once you are done with that class, your probation will terminate. At all times, you're to stay away from the Chevron gas station at 221 Cleveland Avenue in Atlanta, Georgia. If you do not complete your anti-theft class by the end of April, you will continue to report to probation and start paying probation fees from May 1st onwards until the theft class is completed. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Dodis. He has to report to probation next Thursday before 3 p.m. at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta.
Thank you, Your Honor. I gave him that information already preemptively. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Position 15, Mr. Gebrew.
This is State versus Johannes Gibru, 23 CR 0000857J, in which Mr. Gibru has been accused of giving false information to an officer and criminal trespass from February 9th, 2023. Ms. Dillingham, this is going to be a negotiated plea hearing. Any objection to a nolo contendere plea?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Gibru, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Doties. May I place you under oath?
Your Honor, my client, sorry, apologies. My client has advised that he wishes to withdraw his no plea and plead guilty.
Okay. In that case, it's still a negotiated plea. Mr. Gibru, would you mind if I place you under oath? You need to raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
All right, you need to speak up, okay? So I can hear you. Thank you. Ms. Dillingham, what is the plea offer for these two charges?
Yes, Your Honor, the state's offer is 12 months to serve 26 days, credit for time served 13 days, balance suspended, and a stay away order from the Travel Lodge Hotel at 2471 Old National Highway.
Thank you. Mr. Doties, does your client accept these terms, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
Yes, Your Honor. I spoke with my client. He does accept the terms, and we stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID for the purpose of this plea.
Mr. Gibru, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes, I do.
And I'm sorry, I heard yes, and then something else. Did you have something else to add?
No, I didn't.
Okay. If you decide to, well, first of all, are you satisfied with your attorney as well?
Yes.
And is anyone forcing you or inducing you to take this plea today?
No.
And are you freely, willingly, and voluntarily changing your plea from a nolo contendere, no contest, to a guilty plea for both charges?
Yes.
And are you changing this plea after conferring or talking with your attorney?
Yes.
And also in that conversation, has it been explained to you by entering a guilty plea, you are giving up your right to have a trial before a judge or a jury, to go back to court, to challenge the state's evidence, to examine witnesses, to confront your accuser, and have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes.
How do you plead to giving false information to an officer and criminal trespass?
I plead guilty.
Your sentence is going to be 12 months to serve 26 days, credit for time served 13 days. If you have no other cases holding you at the jail, you should be released within 24 hours. The remainder of the time is suspended. You cannot return to the Travel Lodge Hotel at 2471 Old National Highway. If you return to that location, you will be arrested again and have new charges brought against you. Understood?
Yes.
Thank you. Francois, next case, please.
Position 16 and 17, Jasper.
And Your Honor, these are both going to be negotiated pleas. For position 17, when we get there, we do need to confirm the correct jail time. I have a different number, but just want to make sure the math checks out, but we're prepared to go forward on the plea.
Mr. Dejan Markwell Jasper, you have two cases before us. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Doties. I understand this is going to be a negotiated plea. For position 16, the failure to maintain lane and driving while license suspended, it's 12 months, 34 days, credit for time served, 17 days, balance suspended. So there's no additional jail time there. For the position 17, it's simple battery domestic violence, is 12 months to serve 10 days, credit for time served 1 day. So it looks like he has 5 more days to serve at the jail.
Your
Okay.
Honor, I believe that was supposed to be his time served, which is 12 months to serve 34 days, credit for time served 17 days. And then balance probated, the FVIP course, and no further contact with Jaron Bush.
That's my math as well.
Is that your understanding, Mr. Dotis?
Yes, Your Honor, we had the same math. My apologies. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, no, that's all right. I just wanted to be sure there was no misunderstanding about jail time.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So with that cleared away, Ms. Dillingham, what is the, oh, excuse me, Mr. Jasper, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ms. Dillingham, what is the plea offer, please?
Yes, Your Honor, for the position 16, it was 12 months to serve 34 days, credit for time served 17 days, balance suspended, no driving without a license. And then position 17, 12 months to serve 34 days, credit for time served 17 days, balance probated, FVIP course, and no further contact with Jaron Bush.
Mr. Doris, hopefully those were the terms to which your client have agreed. And do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
Yes, Your Honor. I went over all of that with my client and we do so stipulate.
Mr. Jasper, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And is anyone forcing you, inducing you to take a plea offer today?
No, ma'am.
Now you understand you have two cases before us, and I did not mention the case numbers: 22 CR 000-247A and 22 CR 002-248A. Okay, that I just wanted to put that on the record. Okay. Mr. Jasper, if you decide to plead guilty in both these cases, you would have to give up your constitutional right to a trial. You will not be able to go back to court, have a hearing or a trial before a judge or a jury. You will not be able to have your attorney help you to challenge the state's evidence, examine witnesses, confront your accuser, and have the state try to prove the charges in both cases beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead? To failure to maintain lane and driving while license suspended or revoked in 22 CR 000-247A?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 34 days, credit for time served 17 days, balance suspended. You don't have any additional jail time, and you're not to drive any motor vehicle unless you have a valid driver's license, adequate insurance, and proper registration. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
On the second case, 22 CR 000-248A, how do you plead to simple battery domestic violence?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 34 days, credit for time served 17 days. You will report to the remainder of the 12 months, you'll be on probation. You will report to probation next Thursday before 3 p.m. at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. While on probation, you will complete a 6-month domestic violence intervention program, and that will have to be completed at your expense. You must begin that program within 60 days of being released. At all times while you're on probation, you have to have no contact with Jaron Bush. I will waive your probation fees up to and including through the end of May 2023. But after that, you will start paying probation fees from June 1st, 2023 onwards and continue to report to probation. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
For North, would we have, please?
Position 27, 28, and 29, Mattox, Dion Mattox.
Your Honor, I'm waiting for a social worker for a breakout room with Mr. Maddox. If we could hold for 1 second while I see if she's here.
All right. For North, do we have Mr. Casimiro available?
No, I put them back up and I can go get them if they're ready for them.
Yes, the interpreter can log on as soon as the case can be heard. So we're going to have the interpreter log on. And if you can bring him as soon as possible, that'd be great. And I'm so sorry. Did we say that we're going to put positions 27, 28, and 29 in a breakout room with the social worker?
If, Your Honor, I need a quick breakout room with Mr. Casimiro, just a quick thing to make sure we're clear with the interpreter. And then I will need a breakout room myself with the social worker who's in the room with me. So it'll be back-to-back breakout rooms. If we could come back to him, maybe when Attorney McLean is entering or representing clients.
All right, Mr. Doties, I'm going to count on you to juggle that little or navigate that schedule,
I
okay?
understand. My apologies for the confusion, but we'll do our best.
No problem. Okay, can I address anyone else in courtroom 2 represented by Mr. Doties?
Position 18, Jenkins.
All right. Miss Champion will need to have the interpreter ready to log in now so that we can have him available to speak to the client as well as to get ready with the hearing.
Okay, I'll let Miss Grace know. She's the host for today.
All right. Francois, I'm so sorry. My brain is jump starting right now. What was that position number again?
Not a problem, Judge Law. It's gonna be position 18, Jenkins.
Thank you. All right, on position number 18, we have 23 CR 000-838F. We have State versus Deontay Jenkins. Mr. Jenkins has got the following charges brought against him: criminal trespass, giving false information to an officer. Oh, boy. How many counts, Ms. Dillingham? Was it 3 counts of giving false information?
I have 1 count of criminal trespass and 2 counts of giving false information.
Okay, so it was 2 counts. Okay, thank you. And this is going to be a negotiated plea for Mr. Jenkins?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Jenkins, my name is Judge Lal, and we're going to go ahead and have a plea hearing in your case. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Dotis. May I place you under oath for purposes of the plea? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Dillingham, what is the plea offer for Mr. Jenkins?
Yes, Your Honor. The offer in this case is 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days, balance suspended with a stay away order from 254 Peachtree Southwest.
Mr. Dotis, does your client agree to these terms, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
Yes, Your Honor, we do so stipulate.
All right. Mr. Jenkins, you've been advised of your right to counsel and your right to remain silent, and you've been sworn. I just need to ask you some questions to make sure that your plea is being done willingly, voluntarily, and knowingly. First of all, have you consumed any medication or alcohol?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes.
And have you and your attorney gone over your waiver of rights, including your right to to a trial, to go ahead and confront your accuser, to challenge the state's evidence, have the opportunity to examine witnesses, and have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes.
How do you plead to 1 count of criminal trespass and 2 counts of giving false information to an officer?
Yes.
The sentence is going to be 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days. If you have no other matters holding you at the jail, you should be released within 24 hours, and your case will be, the remainder of the time will be suspended. That means you don't have any additional obligations. The only obligations to stay away from 254 Peachtree Street in Southwest Atlanta. If you return to that location, you will be arrested and face new charges.
All right.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Doties, let's see, is our interpreter on? Miss Oriatigi? Miss Oriatigi? All right, she should be here shortly. 4 North, please hold. We'll, as soon as we get the interpreter, we'll be able to put everyone in a breakout room. Courtroom 2, who do we have next?
Position 21, Lawson.
This is State versus Charles Timothy Lawson, 23 CR 0000774F. Mr. Lawson was accused of criminal trespass at a CVS location. Mr. Lawson, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Mr. Doties. This is going to be a negotiated plea. May I place you under oath? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Amen.
Thank you. Ms. Dillingham, what's the plea offer?
Yes, Your Honor, the state's recommendation in the state's offer in this case is 12 months to serve 34 days, credit for time served 17 days, balance suspended with a stay away order from the CVS at 2907 Main Street in East Point, Georgia.
All right, thank you. Mr. Doties, does your client agree to these terms, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
Yes, Your Honor, we do so stipulate.
All right. Mr. Lawson, I'm just going to ask you some questions. First of all, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood everything that's been going on so far?
Yeah, I have medicine.
Oh, you have consumed some medicine? All right. But has that stopped you from understanding what's going on or being able to understand your attorney?
No, ma'am.
And are you satisfied with your attorney? Yes. Okay. So has it been explained to you that if you enter a guilty plea to this criminal trespass charge, you would have to give up your right to go back to court and have a trial to challenge this charge? You won't be able to confront your accuser, examine witnesses, challenge the evidence brought by the state, and as well as bring any defenses that you may choose to do so. Are you prepared to give up these rights? All right. Have you gone over with your attorney that if you enter a guilty plea, that you have to give up these rights, including the right to have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt? Are you prepared to give up these rights? How do you plead to one count of criminal trespass? I'll accept your guilty plea. Your sentence is 12 months to serve 34 days, credit for time served 17 days. The balance is suspended. If you have no other holds at the jail, you should be released within 24 hours. At all times, you have to stay away from the CVS at 2907 Main Street in East Point, Georgia. If you return to that location, you will be facing new charges. Do you understand? Thank you.
Good luck, sir.
All right, I'm sounding up for the interpreter, Mr. Tengi. Oh, there she is.
Yes.
All right, good morning.
Honor,
Thank
good
you for
morning.
being here. Thank you.
Good morning.
All right, we have Mr. Doties, is that 4 North? Is that your client or Mr. McLean?
That's my client, Your Honor. And for the breakout room, could you please put PD Angelo Dotis, and I'll step into the other room with my laptop.
All right, so can you let Miss Lewis know who is going in the breakout? Is going to be our interpreter, Miss Lucia, 4 North. Who else? Mr. Doties is logging on to his laptop. So Miss Lewis, you're going to have to let Mr. Dotis in on a separate Zoom panel.
It's Miss Grace, okay, Judge. And the
Oh, Miss
Spanish.
Grace, I'm so sorry. Okay, Miss
No problem.
Grace, yes.
And an interpreter in 4 North.
Interpreter, Miss Lucia, 4 North. Mr. Dotis is going, there he is. Can you, okay. And the panel titled PD Angelo Dotis.
Okay.
And he said one other person.
Who else did you want in the breakout?
Your Honor, may I interject while we're between cases?
Just 1 second. I think that was it.
Hold on, McLean.
That was it.
That
Four
was it.
North, Miss Lucia and Angelo Jordis, okay?
Thank you.
All right. All right, Mr. McLean, yes, sir.
I just need to ask Mr. Walker to call the usual number again for a offer on add-on number 3.
We're about to do
It's
that.
time served.
I'll talk to him.
All right.
About to do that.
Okay, while Mr. Dodis is in his breakout with the interpreter case, Mr. McLean, are we ready with any of your clients in courtroom 2?
Hold
Quite a few. I think there's
McLean,
right.
I got it.
Have a seat and
Yeah.
Deputy Francois will,
Deputy Francois will do the order.
Position 25, Lundy.
position 25. And Ms. McLean, I was going to say that's a very wise statement to say.
Let her do the order.
All right, 25, and that was,
Ebony Lundy, and that's a negotiated plea, Your Honor.
all right, I do beg your pardon, my 25, okay.
Also a new announcement, Andrea Moore is also a negotiated plea today and not guilty.
Andrea Moore,
That's a change from prior.
okay.
That's 31. These are all pretty alphabetical.
Got it. Thank you. All right, let's begin with Ebony Shaquane Lundy, position 25, case number 23 CR 0000804J. Ms. Lundy was accused of battery from an incident of January 9th, 2023. And Ms. Lundy, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Mr. McLean. May I place you under oath for purposes of the plea? Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Walker, what's the plea offer for position 25?
Yes, Your Honor, it's 12 months to serve, 32 days, credit for time served, 16 days, balance probated with the conditions of an 8-week anger management course. No further contact with the victim, Deshaun Chandler, and the state will drop the stay away provision.
All right.
No further contact is sufficient.
Thank you. Mr. McLean, does your client agree to these terms and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
She does agree. We do so stipulate, and Your Honor, the 8 weeks of anger management I've suggested to her, there's several sources for that because it does cost some money. I would ask the court to consider giving her a financial break for at least part of the probation and to consider whether she could go to non-reporting afterwards.
Any objection to non-reporting?
No objection.
I will waive her probation fees up to and through including May of 2023. And if she's completed with the classes by then her probation will be non-reporting. So she won't have to pay probation fees, but she will have to plan that accordingly. Is that satisfactory, Mr. McLean?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
All right. Ms. Lundy, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Is anyone forcing you or inducing you to take this plea today?
No, ma'am.
So you're doing so freely, willingly, and voluntarily?
Yes, ma'am.
And it's been explained to you that if you plead guilty to this battery charge, that you would have to give up your constitutional right to go back to court, to have a trial before a judge or a jury, to be able to confront your accuser, examine witnesses, challenge the state's evidence, and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to one count of battery?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 32 days, credit for time served 16 days. If you have no other holds, your jail time would be concluded today and you'll be released within 24 hours. Upon your release, you will report to the probation office next Thursday on March 2nd before 3 p.m. And that would be at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. While you are on probation, you will complete 8 weeks of anger management classes and have no contact with Deshaun Chandler. If you complete your anger management classes by the end of May 2023, then your probation will be non-reporting, and I will waive your probation fees until and up to the end of May. If you still have classes to complete, you will still continue to report to probation and start paying probation fees on June 1st, 2023. Your probation will be non-reporting upon completion of the anger management classes. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Position 31, Moore.
This is State versus Andrea Contricia Moore, case number 21 CR 005242F. Ms. Moore was accused of battery domestic violence from a May 12, 2021 incident. Ms. Moore, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Mr. McLean. And this, as I understand, is now going to be a negotiated plea hearing. So in that case, may I place you under oath? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Walker, what are the terms of the offer?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's recommendation is 12 months to serve, 32 days, credit for time served, 16 days, balance probated with the conditions of F5th course and no further contact with the victim, Ernest Lewis.
Mr. McLean, does your client accept these terms, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
She does, and we do so stipulate, Your Honor, we would ask the VIP course is even more expensive than the anger management we just talked about a minute ago. So I would of course ask for the court to consider waiving probation fees while she obtains the FVIP courses.
I will waive her probation fees, but she must report every month until the remainder of the 11 months are completed.
Understood, and I'm writing that down for her.
All right, thank you. Ms. Moore, have you consumed any medication or alcohol?
No.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes.
Is anyone forcing you or inducing you to take a plea today?
No.
And has it been explained to you that if you decide to plead guilty to this charge, that you will be placed on probation for the next 11 months?
This meeting is being recorded.
Yes.
Right, and has also been explained to you that you would have to give up your constitutional right to go back to court, to have a trial in front of a judge or a jury, to have your lawyer present with you so that you could challenge the state's evidence, present your defenses if you choose to do so, confront your accuser, and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes.
How do you plead to one count of battery family violence?
Yes.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 32 days, credit for time served 16 days. You'll be released within 24 hours if you have no other holds at the jail. Once released, you must report to probation next Thursday on March 2nd, 2023 before 3 p.m. at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. While you're on probation, you must begin your domestic violence intervention program classes. That's a 6-month program of weekly classes, and you must begin that program within 60 days of being released. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
I will waive your probation fees, but you must report to probation every month. At all times, you have to have no contact with Ernest Lewis. Stay 200 yards away from him and do not communicate with him in any way, form, or manner. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Doties, are we ready to proceed with our interpreter case?
I believe so. I just sent a message to Miss Dillingham, assuming that won't be an issue we're ready to go on a negotiated plea. On position 8, position 9, I've been told that that will be null pros later today, that with a deal between attorney Julia Hawley and ASG Giddings. So I'm going to scan that paperwork, but for today, I guess we could just reset that case a week out to control.
Let me see. Ms. Dillingham, we are going to go forward with a negotiated plea hearing on position 8.
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Lucia, I'm so sorry. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you transmit will be the truth with no changes or embellishments?
I do, Your Honor.
Thank you. The true and accurate translation with no changes or embellishments. Sorry.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Please let Mr. Casimiro know that we're going to just be addressing one of his 2 cases today.
Señor Casimiro, vamos a hablar nada más de uno de los cargos o acusaciones contra usted el día de hoy.
The case is 21 CR 005-859Y, in which he is charged with criminal trespass.
El caso es del 21 CR 005859Y, en el cual está usted acusado de traspaso criminal o allanamiento de morada.
He has a right to remain silent. Anything he says during the course of this proceeding, his statements can and will be used against him.
Usted tiene el derecho de permanecer en silencio el día de hoy. Cualquier cosa que usted diga puede y será usado en contra suya.
And he has a right to an attorney. Representing him today is Mr. Angelo Dodis.
Tiene el derecho a tener un abogado, quien le está representando el día de hoy, el señor Angelo Dodis.
May I place him under oath?
Le voy a poner bajo juramento ahora. Levante su mano derecha, por favor.
Please raise his right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
¿Jura usted que el testimonio que nos dará el día de hoy será la verdad, solo la verdad y nada más que la verdad, bajo palabra de Dios? Yes, I swear. Gracias. Puede bajar su mano.
Ms. Dillingham, we're going to proceed with position number 8. While we're doing that, is there one of your colleagues can confirm that you will null pros position number 9?
Yes, Your Honor. I just sent an email out to confirm that.
Okay.
But for position 8, our offer is a time served offer, 11 months and 25 days to serve 134 days. Credit for time served 67 days, balance suspended, with a stay away order from 5700 Roswell Road.
Lo que la Fiscalía está ofreciendo para este acuerdo es por la acusación, por la primera acusación, la única acusación de allanamiento de morada, es una sentencia de 134 días a servirse durante 11 meses y 25 días, pero se le acredita los 67 días ya servidos y el balance de los días están siendo suspendidos con una orden de que debe permanecer usted lejos de la dirección de 5700 Roswell Road.
Mr. Dodis, does your client accept these terms and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID? Ms. Lucia?
Yes, Your Honor, we do so stipulate. Oh, pardon me. We do so stipulate.
Y la juez pregunta al abogado si es que él está de acuerdo con los términos que la Fiscalía ha presentado y que si a nombre suyo él acepta esa negociación, y él contestó que sí.
Casimiro, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
Señor Casimiro, ¿ha consumido usted algún medicamento o alguna bebida alcohólica recientemente?
Medicamento nada más.
Only medicine.
And even with that, are you able to understand your attorney and are you able to understand everything that's going on so far?
Aunque haya tomado eso, ¿comprende usted, le entiende usted a su abogado y entiende todo el proceso que ha sucedido esta mañana hasta ahorita?
Sí, entiendo.
Yes, I understand.
And are you satisfied with your attorney's services?
¿Está satisfecho usted con los servicios de su abogado?
Sí, correcto.
Yes, correct.
Mr. Casimiro, if you decide to plead guilty to the charge of criminal trespass, you would have to give up certain rights.
Señor Casimiro, si usted decide declararse culpable en contra de la acusación de allanamiento de morada o traspaso criminal, usted va a renunciar a ciertos derechos.
The rights will include the right to an attorney, the right to a trial, the right to confront your accuser,
Los derechos a los que usted renuncia es el derecho a un abogado, el derecho a un juicio, el derecho de confrontar a quien le está acusando a usted,
the right to examine witnesses, to challenge the state's evidence,
el derecho a examinar a testigos y a examinar a la evidencia de la fiscalía
and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared? I'm sorry.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Are you prepared to give up all these rights?
Y también el derecho de hacer que la fiscalía compruebe estos cargos en contra suya. También está renunciando a ese. La pregunta es, ¿está usted de acuerdo con renunciar a todos esos derechos?
Sí, correcto.
Yes, correct.
Are you entering a guilty plea freely, willingly, and voluntarily?
¿Está usted declarándose culpable, libre y voluntariamente? Yes.
How do you plead to one count of criminal trespass?
¿Cómo se declara en una acusación de allanamiento de morada?
Por usar la vía pública, pues culpable.
Even though it is a public way, guilty.
I will accept that as a guilty plea. Mr. Casimiro, your sentence is 11 months and 25 days to serve 134 days. Credit for time served 67 days.
Señor Casimiro, yo voy a aceptar que usted se declara su declaración de culpable. La sentencia es 11 meses y 25 días para que esté 134 días en la cárcel, pero se le toma los 67 días ya servidos en la cárcel.
The remainder of the jail time is suspended. That means you don't have additional jail time for this case.
Lo que sobra de la sentencia se suspende. Eso quiere decir que ya puede salir de la cárcel, ya no va a tener más cárcel por esta acusación en este caso.
Okay. But you must stay away from the location where you were arrested, which is 5700 Roswell Road in Sandy Springs.
Pero debe usted mantenerse lejos de la ubicación donde lo arrestaron. 5700 de Roswell Road en Sandy Springs.
I'm going to pause right here. Miss Dillingham, I'm looking at the accusation. It says the smoke and novelty shop at 215 Northwood Drive in Sandy Springs, Georgia.
Yes, Your Honor, that was for position 9 that we're waiting to confirm whether or not that was null pros. The address for position 8 was the Shell gas station at 5700 Roswell Road.
That's our understanding as well, Your Honor.
This is case number 21 CR 005-859Y, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm looking at the accusation. It says cloud smoke and novelty shop. Y'all want to clarify where he needs to stay away?
One moment, Your
Your Honor, I'm looking
Ms.
at the
Lucia,
accusation.
just one second. Miss Lucia, please tell Mr. Casimiro the judge wants to clarify exactly where he needs to stay away.
Lo que está pasando ahorita, señor Casimiro, es que la juez quiere aclarar exactamente de dónde tiene que mantenerse usted lejos.
Okay, I see the amended. Okay, understood now. All right, I see the amended accusation.
Ok, estoy viendo la acusación cambiada, o sea, la correcta.
All right, Mr. Casimiro, you are to stay away from the Shell gas station at 5700 Roswell Road in Sandy Springs.
Señor Casimiro, necesita permanecer lejos de la gasolinera de Shell que está ubicada en la 5700 Roswell Road en Sandy Springs.
This includes the station, the parking lot, and the sidewalks.
Eso incluye no acercarse a la gasolinera, no acercarse al estacionamiento, no acercarse a las veredas de esa dirección.
Do you have any questions about what is a public way at a Shell gas station?
¿Tiene usted alguna pregunta de lo que es una vía pública en una gasolinera?
Sí.
Yes.
What's the question?
¿Cuál es la pregunta?
Supuestamente a mí me habían detenido por cruzar la vía pública el policía, pero nunca me dijeron que por acusación de la gas station que me haya declarado culpable por vagabundos, y ahí es donde espera uno trabajo, y yo no entiendo por qué se me ha acusado si no robé nada, no hice nada. Ahí me han acusado inocentemente. Los policías han ido por equivocación, que dicen que yo he ido a pedir dinero ahí.
I'm gonna
gasolinera.
pause right there. Miss Lucia, what is he asking?
He is testifying more than asking, Your Honor. He is
Okay.
asking, would Your Honor allow me to interpret what he has said?
I'm not comfortable with that because he's already pled guilty to the charge. I'm just asking him whether he has any questions about what the public, well, I'm just going to leave it at that. Mr. Doties, did you want to talk to your client about what the Shell gas station is and what's a public way?
I can follow up with him later today on any questions going forward. He didn't have any questions earlier with the interpreter, but I can follow up with him to make sure that we're clear on everything moving forward.
All right, Ms. Lucia, I think at this juncture, just let him know that his attorney will explain to him exactly what is the area that he has to stay away at the Shell gas station.
Okay, Your Honor, I do feel, I'm sorry, this is awkward for me because as an interpreter, I am bound to interpret what the witness has said. And there's just one piece of information that you probably need to be aware of. And what he says is that gas station is where people stand to get work, like day labor, and that's where he usually stands, and that's where he was, and he was just concerned that he didn't understand why he was being ordered to stay away, because he didn't do anything there other than stand and wait for somebody to come pick him up for work, which is what a lot of people seem to do there.
All right. And I think, Mr. Dotis, if you want to explain that, I'll be glad to, but I think it would be more in your position to do so. Please interpret.
Yes, Your Honor. My apologies. I keep him later with an interpreter to explain exactly why he can't go there, and that if that's something that he needs for work, that he needs to find another location.
I will let him know that you will be speaking with him later then, Mr. Dotis.
Yes, please.
Ok. Señor Casimiro, el abogado, el señor Dotis, se va a comunicar con usted hoy día, más tarde, después de esta audiencia, con un intérprete para indicarle a usted la razón y para responder sus preguntas y para decirle por qué no puede ir a esa ubicación y va a tener que encontrar otra. Okay? All right. Yes.
Meanwhile, please stay away from the entire Shell gas station. He's not allowed to stand there to wait for work.
Mientras tanto, por favor, no vaya a esa estación de Shell. No tiene permiso, no puede estar ahí parado para buscar trabajo.
One last thing. Ms. Dillingham, any announcement on position 9?
Your Honor, I have not heard back from ASG Giddings yet.
Let's see, Mr. Walker, Can you
Aye,
make
Your Honor.
a management decision and null pros position 9?
No, that will have to come from ASG Giddings. If she had a conversation
That's-
with PD Holly, they'll have to take care of it. It's my understanding that they're in court right now. So when they get back from court, I will let them know.
Your Honor, what I'll do is I'll scan Mr. Casimiro's paperwork so that they know that it's going to Miss Champion yourself. Figure it out in court. If not, I'm sure they'll figure out the null process as soon as possible. But I
That's
know
the
that we
only-
can't address that.
That's the only thing holding him at the jail right now.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
When they get out of court this afternoon, I will let ASG Giddings know.
Miss Lucia, please let Mr. Casimiro know that on his second case, the attorneys are trying to make sure that the case gets closed out so that he can eventually be released, hopefully within the next 24 hours.
En el segundo caso, señor Casimiro, en la segunda acusación que tienen contra suyo, los abogados están tratando de solucionarle para que no le cause nada a usted eso. Entonces, tienen que esperar a que se solucione eso para dejarle salir de la cárcel, lo cual esperas que sea en las próximas 24 horas.
I'm going to reset the second case to March 9th, 2023. But hopefully we will never reach the case because the matter should be null pros or dismissed.
Entonces, hay una fecha de marzo 9 del 2023 para regresar por esa, una audiencia, por esa otra acusación, pero lo más probable y esperemos que no tenga que llegar a esa fecha y que se resuelva el día de hoy, entre hoy y mañana.
And this is regarding the second case against him.
Y eso es en cuanto al la segunda acusación en contra suya. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Gracias. And Your Honor, would that be all for the interpreter?
Attorneys, do we need an interpreter on any other case?
That's all for me. Thank you, Madam Interpreter. I don't know if Attorney McLean has anything.
McLean, do you need the interpreter for any of your cases? That's it, Judge.
Thank you, Francois. Ms. Lucia, thank you so much for taking the time and coming on board at the last minute. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. You have a good day.
You too. Thank you. All right, courtroom 2, who do we have next?
Position 26, Marcus.
Oh, hold on a second. I gotta go up. Okay, I'll fill it. Thank you.
Mr. McLean, you ready to move forward?
Sorry, we were consulting with other folks in our office, Your Honor. Yes, we are ready to go forward on this.
All right. This is State versus Nicholas Paul Marcus, 23 CR 000805F. Mr. Marcus has been accused of criminal trespass from February 1st, 2023. And Mr. Marcus, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. McLean. This is going to be a negotiated plea, so may I place you under oath? Do you
Yes, ma'am.
solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Just to digress 1 second, Mr. McLean, at 4 North, we have, I believe, an individual that's waiting to go in a breakout. Is that with you or with Mr. Dotis or with the social worker?
What's the name of the person?
4 North, please identify.
Matt Tops.
Maddox.
Yeah.
And Your Honor, that's who I have a social worker ready to go for a breakout room.
That makes sense.
All right, and who would that be?
Don't worry about it. Really.
Mr. Dotis, who would be going in a breakout with Mr. Maddox?
It will just be the PD Angelo Dotis Zoom for my laptop, and the social worker will just share the laptop with me in the other room.
Okay, Miss Grace, we need to place 4 North and the Zoom panel, Angelo Dotis, in a breakout room, please.
Thank you.
All right. 4 North and Angelo Dotis. Okay. Moving back to Mr. Marcus, Mr. Walker, what's the plea offer, please?
The state's recommendation is 12 months to serve, 32 days, credit for time served, 16 days, with the condition of a stay away from the incident location, 1873 Sumter Street Northwest. I would like to make the court aware that the victim, Mr. Cesar Gutierrez, is on the line if he would like to make a statement. He is the homeowner at that property.
All right. Mr. Gutierrez?
It's
Yes, good morning.
Oh, I can see a wall and a ceiling. Okay, there we go. All right. Mr. Gutierrez, my name is Judge Lal, and we are addressing the case with State versus Nicholas Marcus. I understand that Mr. Marcus has agreed to plead guilty to the charge. He served 16 days at the Fulton County Jail. He'll be given credit for that time. And if he has no other holds, he'll be released with the instruction that he has to stay away from the location 1873 Sumter Street in Northwest Atlanta. Do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, so this has been a recurrent case since the last 9 months. As I mentioned before on the previous hearing, everything has been documented. We have given you all the evidence that we were able to, and it's just a lot of damage to the house, and it's just definitely.
Tell me, what are you asking for then?
The best way to keep them out of the streets, really, it's not only for me but for the entire neighborhood, and also for the probation officer to be a real like person, or for him to be committed to the probation officer, because it seems like he is not. He's just like sometimes, offering drinks to me. He has done it before, and I don't know. It seems like he just doesn't want to. He doesn't want to follow the law and being away from the property.
I'm a little curious. You said this has been going on. How many cases has he already had?
We opened about 5 cases, I believe. I sent all of that to Officer York, and I believe Miss Cheney, she has also all those cases documented. He has a previous incident with another neighbor, like 4 houses down, that he also damaged his house and he threatened him. That was Will. So there's a lot of things that are happening, and really it's just occurrence after occurrence after occurrence. It seems like he doesn't really care. Everything is documented. Everything should be on the system.
All right, Mr. Walker, that's your victim statement. Do you have a response as the prosecutor?
Yes, 1 second, Your Honor, because I do see that he has an additional case that is not on the calendar, I believe.
I'm more concerned about his GCIC from just Fulton County alone.
So with that being said, we'll be asking for a mental health balance probated along with a mental health evaluation.
So you're modifying the terms.
That's the state's request.
I'll speak with the client.
All right, Mr. McLean, we will put this case on the on deck right now, and then we'll take the next case. Francois?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gutierrez.
Don't worry about it.
Yes.
Position 30, McFarland.
This is State versus Eric Martin McFarland, case number 23 CR 0008411Y. Mr. McFarland has been accused of criminal trespass, public drunk, and a third offense. Mr. McLean, is your client aware of the third charge?
We have all 3 there, Your Honor, yes.
Okay, and this is from a February 8th, 2023 incident. This is position 30, and this is going to be a negotiated plea. Mr. McFarland, you have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. McLean. May I place you under oath? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge? Thank you. All right. Mr. Walker, what is the plea offer for Mr. McFarland?
It is 12 months to serve, 30 days, credit for time served, 15 days, balance probated with the conditions of a stay away from the incident location, which is Atlantic Station. The address is 1380 Atlantic Drive. In addition, there is a $300 fine to the PI charge.
All right. Mr. McLean,
Your Honor, we ask the court accept that. He stipulates to venue, ID, and factual basis, and those are the terms we expected to hear.
all right. Mr. McFarland, have you consumed any? Oh, is he signing something? Okay. Have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
From the jail, I just received with my basic medication, which is for high blood pressure and peppercine.
All right. And when was the last time you took it?
Yesterday.
Repeat.
Yesterday in the evening.
Okay. And this morning or since this has begun, have you still been able to understand your attorney and understand the proceedings?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And is anyone forcing you or inducing you to take this plea today?
No, ma'am.
And has it been explained to you that if you decide to plead guilty to these 3 charges, that it will go on your record?
Yes, ma'am.
And that not only will it go on your record, but you will not be able to challenge these charges in a court of law. You would have to give up your right to a trial, right to have the assistance of counsel so that you could confront your accuser, examine witnesses, challenge the state's evidence, present any defenses you may have, and have the state try to prove all 3 charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes.
How do you plead? To criminal trespass, public drunk, and the 3rd offense?
Guilty.
Your sentence for all 3 are 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days. The rest of the time you'll be on probation. You will report to probation next Thursday at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. You must report on March 2nd, 2023, before 3 p.m. At all times, you are to stay away from the Atlantic Station, specifically 1380 Atlantic Drive in Atlanta, Georgia. And for the PI charge, the 3rd offense, there will be an additional $300 fine.
And Your Honor, if I may have just a minute, I'm asking him to look at a note that I'm passing to him. Your Honor, instead of the $300 fine, could he do 30 hours community service, please?
Mr. Walker?
There's no objection to that.
All right, I will amend the $300 fine to 30 hours of voluntary community service, which must be completed within the next 120 days.
And Your Honor, just generally speaking, in the economy that we're in and Mr. Farland's apparent circumstances, I would ask to probation. I'm sorry for the,
no problem. I will waive probation fees up to and including through the end of May 2023. But he will continue to report to probation every month and start paying probation fees June 1st, 2023 onwards.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Any other questions?
Nothing. Thank you.
All right, that concludes this case. Francois, the next case, please.
Position 32, Matla.
Don't send it back. I have to get that information from it.
This is Bijan Motla, case number 23 CR 000-863A, accused of simple battery domestic violence from February 11th, 2023. Ms. Motla, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Anything you say during the course of these proceedings Your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you this morning is Mr. Michael McLean. You had your initial appearance on February 11th. You received a $3,000 surety bond. This is position 32. This is going to be a negotiated plea. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. Ms. Motler, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right. I'm sorry. It's Mr. Motler. I do beg your pardon. Okay. Mr. Motler, we're first going to hear from the prosecutor. Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's recommendation is 12 months to serve, 26 days. Credit for time served, 13 days. Balance probated with conditions of FVIP. I do see the victim on the line, his father, Bijan Motlove. I'll allow him to speak to whether he would like to have contact with his son.
All right. Mr. Bahman Motler? You need to unmute your screen, please.
I did it. I think I did it.
Yes, you are good now. Thank you. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Bahman Motler, so we are addressing this case with Bijan Motler, in
Yes.
which if he decides to plead guilty, he would need to be placed on probation, and he would need to complete a 24-week program for domestic violence classes. He cannot have any contact with you, and he needs to stay away from the Broadwell Road location. Do you have any comment about that?
No, the only thing is that he can stay away from here, but as far as meeting me maybe somewhere else, that would be acceptable to me, because obviously he's going to be by himself, so he may need some kind of help. So so I can go and see him and see where he's at and how I can help him and that sort of thing.
Mr. Walker,
The state would be willing to modify to a no further violent contact and just keep the stay away at 1465 Mid Broadwell Road in Alpharetta.
Mr. McLean, that's the modification that the state would allow. Is your client, would you need to speak to your client?
No, Your Honor, I don't. He's quite happy with that.
All right.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. McLean, do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
We do so stipulate, Your Honor, and those are the terms we expected to hear. And of course, FVIP is one of those courses that takes a good bit of money, and I would ask the court to consider financial breaks involved for that. He's a young man.
I'll waive the probation fees for the first 6 months. Give me a moment. I'll waive the probation fees up to and including through the end of August 2023. By September 1st, he will continue to report and start paying probation fees.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Motler, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently? That would be Mr. Bahman. You can mute your screen, please. Thank you. Mr. Bijan Motler, have you consumed any of the items I mentioned?
I did consume some medication.
All right. Even with that, are you able to understand your attorney and the proceedings so far?
Perfectly, Your Honor.
And are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm very satisfied.
Is anyone forcing you or inducing you to take a plea today?
No.
I'm sorry, you were nodding your head, so I was.
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
No one has forced me.
No, he was nodding his head to my note that commemorated rather the August of 23 fee thing.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And Mr. Motler, if you decide to enter this guilty plea to simple battery domestic violence, it will go on your record. In addition to that, you would have to give up your constitutional right to have a trial in this case in the future. You will not be able to go back to court, challenge this case in a court of law before a judge or a jury, have the assistance of counsel to challenge the state's evidence, present your own defenses if possible, to examine witnesses, confront your accuser, and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
How do you plead to one count of simple battery, domestic violence?
I'm guilty, Your Honor.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 26 days, credit for time served 13 days. Your jail time is concluded. You'll be released within 24 hours, and you must report to the probation office at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta, and that would be next Thursday, March 2nd, before 3 p.m. You'll be placed on probation, where your probation fees will be waived up to and including through the end of August 2023, but you will continue to report to probation every month. Your probation fees will start on September 1st, 2023. While you're on probation, you will complete a 24-week program, which is the Domestic Violence Intervention Program. You must begin that program within 60 days of being released. You will pay for the classes out of your own pocket. You are to have no further violent contact with Baman Mitlow, which means that you can communicate with him in person, through a phone, through a computer, through social media, but there cannot be any physical or verbal altercation with Mr. Baman. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you are required to stay away from 1465 Mid Broadwell Road, apartment 4211 in Alpharetta, Georgia. The stay away is about 200 yards. So that means you probably have to stay away from the entire complex. Understood?
Understood, Your Honor.
All right. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no firearms. Do you have any questions about your sentence?
No, Your Honor, it's clear.
Mr. Baman, any questions?
No, ma'am. Thank you very much.
All right, that concludes this case. Thank you.
Position 33, Nash.
Thank you.
We have Mr. Taco Nash, case number 23 CR 000844D. Mr. Nash is accused of simple battery domestic violence from March 16, 2021. Nash, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. McLean. Mr. McLean, I understand that your client plans to enter a not guilty plea. Would that be correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right. Do you waive a reading of the accusation?
We do waive that, and we ask the court to simply arraign him.
Mr. Nash, in your particular case, you will be entering a not guilty plea to the charge of simple battery domestic violence, to which you are legally presumed innocent until the case goes to trial and the state proves the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Upon the state has the complete burden to prove this charge beyond a reasonable doubt, and if the state prevails, you could be found guilty and face a penalty of up to a year in prison and or up to $1,000 fine. Given this information, how do you plead?
Not guilty.
Your case has been arraigned, and there's going to be further notice for jail jury. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position 34, Oliver.
This is State versus Travell Oliver, position 22 CR 006620J. Mr. Oliver was accused of theft by shoplifting from a September 9th, 2022 incident. This is going to be a negotiated plea. Mr. Oliver, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Mr. McLean. May I place you under oath? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Walker, what's the plea offer?
The recommendation is time served of 48 hours, stay away from the incident location, 2907 Main Street, which is in East Point, Georgia, which is a CVS.
Mr. McLean, does your client agree to this terms, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
He does, and we do so stipulate, he asks the court to accept his negotiated plea of guilty.
Mr. Oliver, have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you've not consumed any medication or alcohol?
No,
Have you consumed any?
no,
And are you satisfied with your attorney?
yes,
Has your attorney explained to you that if you enter a guilty plea to theft by shoplifting, that it will go on your record?
yes,
And if your record shows that you have 3 or more guilty convictions for theft by shoplifting, any subsequent arrest will automatically be a felony?
yes,
Did he explain that to you?
yes, Your Honor.
All right. Did he also explain that in order to enter this guilty plea, you have to give up your right to go back to court, to have a trial, to confront your accuser, challenge the state's evidence,
Yes.
present any defenses you may have, and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt? Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
How do you plead to 1 count of theft by shoplifting?
Guilty.
Your sentence is time served. You cannot return to the CVS pharmacy at 290 Main Street in East Point, Georgia. If you return to that location, you will get another criminal case brought against you. Do you understand?
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
By any chance, Mr. Walker, do you know if this is his first conviction for theft by shoplifting?
I would have to pull up this GCIC, Your Honor.
Your Honor. I do see a misdemeanor conviction that was on April the 20th, 2022 for theft by shoplifting. It was with the city of Atlanta. Probation 6 months.
All right. So this will be your second shoplifting conviction, Mr. Nash. Mr. Oliver, excuse me. And like I've told you, if you collect 3, the 4th one will automatically be a felony charge. So let's make this the last one. Understood?
Understood.
Thank you.
Position 36 and 37, Richardson.
Um, 36, 37. Is that Mr. Lynch's client?
No, I believe he was here on someone else.
Mr. Owen Lynch, I'm so sorry.
He was
so
here for
you
Alfred
know.
Banks.
Yes, sir. Who's your client?
Your Honor, I'm here for Alfred Banks. This was negotiated with Angela Waldrop, but my understanding is that it was given to placed on this calendar to enter the plea we negotiated.
Okay, is Mr. Banks in courtroom 2?
I'm not sure. I thought I saw him, but I can't.
No,
Yes,
sorry. I'm asking Deputy Francois. Yes?
Yes, he is, Judge.
Okay, we'll take him next. I'm sorry, Mr. Lynch.
No problem.
Trying to manage these Hollywood squares, it becomes challenging. Okay. All right, Mr. McLean, we're going to address Aaron Richardson. Is that
Your Honor,
correct?
in the materials I was given yesterday to have court today, it was noted that 36 and 7 was a private lawyer, and so they didn't send over anything. And so it's got.
Well, it says Frank Gaither, so that's PD.
I don't know if there was a mistake made. If there was an error made, I will take a look into that. But they didn't send me over anything in the way of police reports or accusations or anything like that. So I'm seeing the offer, and I can get on Odyssey if that is a mistake and find out what's what.
Okay.
Also, I noticed 37, I would need something from Mr. Walker, because right there, it's no offer at that point.
Correct. There is no offer on position 37. This is a PD case. So we're gonna have to reset this case.
Right, and 37 was no offer because if you were to enter a plea on 36, 37 would be a felony transfer.
Okay. All right, Mr. McLean, I think you have to talk to Mr. Richardson about these two cases.
That's right.
All right, thank you. May we address Mr. Banks, please?
Yes, Your Honor, and pardon my interruption. If Mr. Lynch could please check the chat. I know he mentioned there was a previous updated plea offer.
Over there, McLean. Richardson, have a seat over there. You can talk to you over there. Positions 2 and 3, Banks.
Ms. Dillingham, I did address your chat. Did you want me to go ahead and forward that email to you before we go forward?
If you could, please. Thank you.
Okay, is it Lauren?
Yeah,
Can you-
Dylan.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat also.
thank you.
All right, so Mr. Lynch, are we ready to proceed with your client?
No, Your Honor, I just need to confirm this previous plea with, I believe ASG Waldrop before we can proceed.
All right. Sorry, Francois, we are still on holding pattern with Mr. Banks
I didn't have this.
until the state confirms the plea offer. So,
Come on, Mr.
Mr.
Chapman.
Lynch, remind me if I don't reach you.
I will, Your Honor. Thank you.
Just chime right in. Okay. Who do we have next, Francois?
This is Mr. Talbert. He's an add-on position 3.
All right. And that's Mr. McLean's case?
Yes.
Mr. McLean, what's the announcement for position 3 on the add-on calendar?
Oh, this is the simplest of things, Your Honor. It's a time served negotiated plea.
All right. Give me a minute, please. This is Anthony Quinn Talbot.
Yes.
Case number
Right.
20 CR 0000785B. Mr. Talbot was accused of possession and use of drug-related objects, simple battery against a detention officer, and littering. I'm assuming this is a jail incident?
Yes, that's my understanding, and it's time served 123 days.
Okay. This is case number 20, Mr. Talbot, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. McLean. May I place you under oath? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. McLean, you've heard the offer from Mr. Walker. Does your client agree to these terms? And do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
He does. We do.
Mr. Talbot, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
Just 1 second, please. I have an ASL interpreter here, Rick.
Yes, Your Honor.
Who are you here for?
As I indicated in my message,
Okay.
I didn't know who I was requested to be here for, so I just wanted to let.
All right. This
No,
may
no.
be on a competency calendar, so please hold, okay?
I will do, Your Honor. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
No problem. All right, getting back to Mr. Talbot, I'm so sorry, just sorry the interruption. And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And has your attorney gone over the waiver of rights, specifically the right to no trial? You will not go back to court. You will not challenge this case, not challenge the evidence, the witnesses brought against you, to confront your accuser, and have the opportunity to have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you prepared to waive these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to the 3 charges brought against you?
Yes,
Your sentence is time served. Your obligations for this case are over. Thank you.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Position 22, 23, and 24, Lindsay.
This is State versus Nathan Lindsay. He's got 20, all three are FTA cases. And this case was reset for today in order for the state to decide whether they wanted to null pros these three failure to appear cases based on Mr. Lindsay's medical conflict as the reason why he did not appear in court. Mr. Lindsay, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Doties. Mr. Walker?
Yes, I did get the medical records and he was hospitalized on the date of court. So we could either sit aside or null pros or whatever the easiest process is.
Mr. Doties, any objection to the state issuing a null pros for positions 22, 23, and 24?
No objections, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Lindsay.
Richardson, they're gonna lease that.
Next case, Ms. Francois.
It's gonna be going back to position 26, Marquez. You said Richardson is reset?
Yeah.
Francois,
Yes,
are you almost finished?
yeah, this is my last one.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Mr. Walker, after Mr. Gutierrez had allocated his concerns in State versus Marcus 23 CR 000805F, the state had decided to rescind its offer of balance suspended, and I believe it's requiring balance probation.
Correct. And for him to report monthly and to get a mental health evaluation and any necessary treatment, along with the stay away of Mr. Gutierrez's address, which I stated earlier.
Mr. Gutierrez, if you're still there? I think he's gone. Okay. All right, Mr. McLean, so.
I can refer him to 10 Park Place. He's a Fulton County resident. So I can refer him to 10 Park Place see if he's eligible for free services on the evaluation. If he is flush with money, he'll pay for an evaluation. That's not a problem. I explained probation to him. We would ask the court to waive the fees. He's gonna have to report every month.
Is Mr. Marcus residentially challenged?
I don't believe he is, Your Honor. But he pays rent.
No, I live with my friend.
He lives with his family.
And where is that?
In Atlanta, in Fulton County.
I have a Dunsheath Avenue.
Yes.
Is that your current address? Mr. Marcus, so this is a plea hearing where the state has made an offer and your attorney has conveyed the plea offer to you. And if I find that you are entering this plea willingly, voluntarily, and knowingly, I really should not have any reason not to accept it, except that the alleged victim's concerns have really brought me to address this issue of to whether I should accept the plea at all. Keeping in mind that if I require you to stay away, and when I say stay away, I mean 500 yards away, which is the length of 5 football fields.
Now, it's possible, Your Honor, I'm not sure, I haven't looked at the map. It's possible he may live closer than that. I haven't seen that.
Well, that is a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, he feels like probably 500 yards. He probably lives closer than that to this person.
Hey, the guy, I got Mr. Bonham,
Mr. Walker, do you have any idea of the proximity?
I do not. At this point, the state would just be requesting a reset so I can get with Mr. Gutierrez again to get some additional information.
I live next door.
If there's a reset, we need a signature bond. This should not stop the liberty of the person. He's going to comply with whatever reasonable things the court's going to order, but his neighbor.
It is my understanding he lives in the neighborhood, but I cannot tell you the exact number of yards.
Yes, I live next door.
Oh, put your nose up.
That was not brought up by the alleged victim. Well, now we have a problem then, because if I do a stay away from this address, the stay away is standard 200 yards away, which means he cannot live next door anyways. Yes, Ms. Maldonado, I need Mr. Gutierrez back. So I'm just trying to figure out what's going on, but at this juncture, I cannot accept this plea. I don't believe this will accommodate the victim's issues that have been so artfully raised during the course of this hearing. I can reset the case as an add-on for March 2nd. I'm not going to grant a signature bond. I've already reviewed his GCIC. Gives me grave concerns that he has a significant criminal record history.
Your Honor, March 2nd, is that a week from now?
A week from now.
Can we do that a little quicker?
I don't have anything quicker, and I'm already putting it on an add-on, which means that Miss Grace is already upset with me. Oh, hang on, Mr. Gutierrez is coming on board right now.
And Your Honor, if it's possible, can I have a breakout with Mr. Gutierrez?
Excuse me?
Mr. Gutierrez, let me see. Deputy Francois, do you have any more cases in courtroom 2?
No, we're completed here in courtroom 2, Judge.
All right, Mr. Doty, did you have any other matters to address in courtroom 2?
Not in courtroom 2, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. McLean, I'm going to reset Marcus's case to March 2nd as an add-on.
Your Honor, could you make it Tuesday? This is a liberty interest that even Mr. Gutierrez, he's next door. If he's next door neighbor, I mean, if that was the big concern, he would have brought it up. I mean, he said he was in the community. That's fine. We didn't get out our maps and start looking.
I thought they're done.
All right, he needs to get on with his life. He needs to get his evaluation done. He needs to get out there to Grady, and it'll be fine. He's going to live with his parents.
His parents, okay. All
Maybe
right.
if you have a question for me, I can answer any questions. I'm here now.
Mr. Gutierrez, does this individual, Marcus, live next door to you?
That's correct.
All right, Mr. Walker, he lives next door. The 200 yards will require him, Mr. McLean, the 200 yards will require him to vacate those premises.
Your Honor, if the 200 yards is standard, we can modify that. Thank you.
All right.
The state's position has not changed. We're still requesting the stay away from the instant location based on the repeated contact.
Right. I'm not accepting this plea. This is not going to accommodate it. I'll address a bond modification or an arraignment. Mr. McLean has already made his bond modification argument. Mr. Walker?
Yes, can we hear from pretrial?
Ms. Jackson, this is Mr. Marcus, position 26.
The defendant has 11 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was October the 20th, 2022 in Fulton County for a probation violation. The defendant does appear to be on probation. That case number is 22 CR 00708-9, the letter F, for criminal trespass, damage to property. That disposition date was November 3rd, 2022. The term is for 12 months. Also, the defendant has an additional open probation case in Fulton County.
I can't understand. It's breaking up.
I can hear her, Miss Jackson. Could you repeat right after you repeated the last case, 22 CR 007089?
Okay. Would you like for me to?
I think you were saying he has other cases in Fulton
Okay,
County?
yes, he has an additional open probation case. That case number is 20 SC 174324. The charge is burglary in the first degree and theft by taking. That disposition date was March the 10th, 2020. Confinement 1 year, probation 4 years. And there's another case that runs concurrently with that case. It's a probation case for burglary in the first degree and criminal attempt to commit a felony and financial or transaction card fraud. That case number is 20 SC 174026. That disposition date was March the 10th, 2020. Confinement 1 year, probation 4 years. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Do we have another case, 19 SC 168281?
Not seeing it. I will.
Can you say that number one more time, Your Honor?
19 SC 168281.
Let's see if we go to parties.
Yes. And
Okay,
then-
I see the disposition. Okay, that disposition was August 29, 2019, under the first offender. All right, so Mr. Walker, anything else to add?
Yes, based on the defendant's criminal history, based on the fact that he was just convicted of a similar crime back in November of last year with a different neighbor under similar circumstances, and based upon the statements made by the victim in this case, we are concerned for his safety. It's my understanding that his elderly parents are living with him or soon to be living with him. This defendant has repeatedly not only harassed this victim, but other neighbors, and is currently under probation and has open violation of probation cases. Right now, a $5,000 surety bond is more than reasonable, and we ask that the bond remain as said.
Mr. McLean, any rebuttal?
Your Honor, we would ask to lower the bond to at least $1,000 surety bond, and if possible, a signature bond, considering the circumstance.
The request is denied.
He's quite lucid and he understands his obligations.
I understand, Mr. McLean, but given the circumstances, this is not an issue of a remote incident. He's under 2 probations. He's got multiple prior convictions for burglary and trespass. This is not a situation where he's finally understood the ramifications of his alleged actions. Given the criminal record history and his recidivism, the bond of $5,000 is appropriate. Case is reset to March 2nd as an add-on for a possible plea or a trial if you want to file a waiver of arraignment. Mr. Walker, please go, and I'm sorry, the trial won't be next week. Mr. Walker, if Mr. Gutierrez, if you would like to put your phone number.
We have contact with the victim, Your Honor. I will call him after court to explain further.
Mr. Gutierrez, I thank you for being here, but please make sure that you keep up your communication with the prosecutor's office and the victim advocates division.
Yep, will do. Thanks.
All right, thank you, sir, for coming back. Thank you.
Mr. Gutierrez.
All right, Francois, I think we concluded with courtroom 2. I'm moving on.
Real quick question, before I let you go. For position number 2 and 3, Mr. Banks, is he completed? I know Mr. Lynch is
Your Honor, excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Listen, yeah, you will give him permission to interrupt, so.
I
What's
believe
the-
that we are ready to go forward with that plea. The only outstanding issue, I believe, is I haven't filled out plea paperwork for him. I don't think I have any blank plea paperwork. So I can do that, but we are ready to go forward with the plea based on my understanding. The solicitor's office is ready
You've
to go
not
forward.
filled it out, or you've not had a chance to go over with it?
No, I've gone over all his rights. Well, to answer your question, no, I have not gone over the plea paperwork itself, but I have gone over all his trial rights and everything that is on the plea paperwork with Mr. Banks in jail.
All right. Mr. Francois, we'll need Mr. Banks up at courtroom 2 at the monitor. I'm going to place courtroom 2 and Mr. Lynch in a breakout room, so he and his client can go over the paperwork.
Okay.
And I'm going to take out Fulton Medical and then ACDC.
Before you, hey, Ms. Blunt, is that William Baham?
Fulton Medical, could you identify the defendant, please?
This is Maya Lakes.
Okay. Is that from the competency calendar or the main calendar?
This is the main calendar, Your Honor.
Okay. Miss Lakes, all right.
Ma'am.
All right, Mr. Dodis, are you the PD?
I am, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Lynch, go ahead and call the jail at 404-612-2392.
Hey, McClain.
And you need to speak to your client.
Lynch, instead of calling 404-612, just 612, what is it? 2391, because McLean is on 2392.
Okay, I'll call right now.
Thank you. All right, this is Miss Lakes and this is position 20 on the calendar. Maya Lakes is at the Fulton Medical location, case number 23 CR 0008558, accused of giving false information to an officer and theft by shoplifting. Ms. Lakes, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Mr. Angelo Dodis. He's in this courtroom 2 panel. Mr. Dodis, if you could please wave your arm. Okay, do you see him, Ms. Lakes?
Yes, ma'am, I sure do.
Thank you. This is going to be, what is it, Mr. Dodis?
Yes, Your Honor. I had a chance to speak with Ms. Lake shortly before this, and this will be a negotiated plea.
All right. Ms. Lakes, please raise your right hand for purposes of the plea. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ms. Dillingham, what's the plea offer for Ms. Lakes?
Yes, Your Honor. The offer in this case is 12 months to serve 26 days, credit for time served 13 days, balance probated, an anti-theft course, and then it can go to balance suspended after completion of that course, and a stay away order from the Walmart at 844 Cleveland Avenue.
Mr. Dodis, does your client accept these terms, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
My client does accept these terms, and we do so stipulate. We would ask, Your Honor, to help Ms. Lakes by waiving her probation fees. She's currently residentially challenged. I provided her with resources to help her get back on her feet. But because she will have to take this anti-theft class, which she is prepared to do, we would ask this court to help her out.
I will waive her probation fees up to and including through the end of April 2023, during which time she needs to complete the anti-theft class, after which her probation will terminate.
Thank you, Your Honor.
If she's not completed the class, her probation could be revoked and she'll spend the rest of the 12 months in jail.
Understood, Your Honor. We're clear on that.
All right. Ms. Lakes, have you understood the proceeding so far?
Yes, ma'am. I have a quick question or something that I would like to tell you. Like right now, I don't know if
Ms. Lakes, if you have a question, we can do a breakout room. If it's something we didn't address earlier, or if it's a question you want to ask me later, but if it's something related to your plea, we can do a quick breakout room.
No, I'm good. I'm sorry.
All right, Ms. Lakes, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And is anyone forcing you to take a plea today?
No, ma'am.
If you decide to plead guilty to the 2 charges brought against you, you would have to give up your right to go back to court, to have a trial in front of a judge or a jury, to be able to have the assistance of an attorney, to challenge the state's evidence, confront your accuser, examine witnesses, present any defenses if you choose to do so, and have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to waive your probation fees for the months of February, March, and April. That should give you time to finish the anti-theft class. You'll report to probation every month for February, March, and April.
Yes, ma'am.
If you complete the class, then your probation will terminate and you won't have to repeat after that.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, you won't have to report after that.
Yes, ma'am.
Does that help answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to 1 count of giving false information to an officer and theft by shoplifting?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 26 days, credit for time served 13 days. You will report to probation next Thursday,
Yes.
March 2nd, at 132 Mitchell Street before 3 p.m.
Yes, ma'am.
You'll be placed on probation. Your probation fees are waived for February, March, and April, during which time you should complete your anti-theft class. As soon as you're done with the class, you need to send the certificate to your probation officer, then they will terminate your probation. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And at all times, you cannot return to the Walmart at 844 Cleveland Avenue.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
The officer had a question.
Hey, Judge Law, she has probation a probation hold for DeKalb County, so she don't know how long she'll be in DeKalb.
Oh, I see. All right. So once this case is closed, you'll be released to DeKalb authorities. As soon as you're done with the DeKalb case, you have to report to the probation, Fulton County probation, anytime on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday before 3 p.m. within 7 days of being released.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
And Your Honor, since she will have a hold in DeKalb County, I know we stated probation fees waived through April 2023. Could we word it as 3 months upon release?
Okay.
Is that?
That's fine. 3 months upon release. Miss Champion, let's do that. Let's do it that way. All
Thank
right. Anyone else? Thank you, Fulton Medical. We are done. Courtroom 2, Mr. McLean, we are done with your case. Mr. Lynch is still talking to his client. So we're going to ACDC. Who do we have there, please?
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Ms. Milton. Yes, ma'am.
I have before you position 14, Ms. Faison,
Okay.
and the ladies here have not heard their rights. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The only one I do not have with me is position 41, Ms. Weems. I will get her when we finish everything.
All right. Good morning. This is for the individuals at ACDC South Annex. My name is Judge Law. This is state all-purpose calendar. This is a list of misdemeanor cases in which we're going to get a status of the matter to see whether you want to enter a plea of guilty or not guilty, and to decide whether the case goes to trial or whether you accept the state's offer and their recommendation. Please remember that these are active pending criminal cases against all of you, so you have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say during the course of these proceedings, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. So I have position 14, Shaniqua Faison, accused of stalking and criminal trespass from 23 CR 000833C. Ms. Faison, you've been advised of your rights. Your attorney is Mr. Dodis. And Mr. Dodis, on position number 14, this is going to be a negotiated plea. Ms.
Yes.
Fasson, if you please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Honor.
Repeat.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Dillingham, what is the plea offer?
Yes, Your Honor, this is a time served offer, 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days, balance probated with a mental health evaluation, and no further contact with Raheem Siller. The two do share a child together, so we would also request third-party transfer of the child and a stay away order from Mr. Siller's address, which is 7693 Battle Way.
That's in Atlanta.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Dodis, does your client accept these terms, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
Yes, Your Honor, we do accept and we do so stipulate. We would request if the state would agree to switch Ms. Faison to non-reporting status upon completion of the evaluation and treatment program.
This is a stalking charge. And I'm not going to convert it to a non-reporting.
Understood, Your Honor.
This is tantamount to a same kind of protections that a protective order would provide.
Understood, Your Honor.
All right. So, Ms. Fasson, you're going to be required to report to probation every month, and you're going to be required to stay away from Mr. Raheem Silver and his home. But you can communicate through a third party on how to share your child or children with Mr. Siller. Do you still want to proceed with this plea offer, or would you like to go to trial?
I would like to proceed with the plea offer.
Mr. Dodis, are you satisfied?
Yes, Your Honor, we were prepared. I just wanted to bring that up on behalf of my client, but we're fully prepared to go forward with the plea.
All right, and just to reiterate, we do stipulate to the 3 items, right?
Yes, Your Honor, we do so stipulate to the 3 elements.
Okay. Ms. Fasson, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No, Your Honor.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
I do.
And is anyone forcing you or inducing you to take this plea today?
No.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
I'm satisfied with my attorney.
And has it been explained to you that if you plead guilty to these charges, you will not have an opportunity to have a trial in front of a judge or a jury to confront your accuser, challenge the state's evidence, present any defenses you may have, as well as have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt? Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, it was said to me.
Do you understand the waiver of these rights?
I understand the waiver of the right.
And you understand that you will not be able to exercise these rights?
Yes, Your Honor, I understand.
How do you plead? To 1 count of stalking and 1 count of criminal trespass?
I plead guilty.
Your sentence is going to be 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days. The rest of the time you'll be on probation. Once you're released, you will report to probation next Thursday at 132 Mitchell Street in Atlanta, Georgia, and you must report before 3 p.m. next Thursday. While on probation, you will complete an MHET. Your probation officer will explain what that is. You will also stay away from 7693 Battle Way in Atlanta, Georgia. Have no contact with Raheem Siller. And Ms. Faison, this is very important. You have to stay 200 yards away from him, not communicate with him in person, not through a computer, not through a cell phone, not even on social media. Do you understand?
I understand.
The only exception is that you can communicate with a third party, a neutral third party, in order to arrange visitation and joint custody arrangements. Understood?
I understand.
You will report to probation every month, and we will see you, and this will be a continuing protective order for the entirety of the probation term. Thank you.
Next we have position 7, Ms. Boynton. Bear the pen for a minute.
Deputy Milton, does she need medical attention right now?
No, as soon, I got two courts going on at the same time. So as soon as we finish, my other one, I'll take her down.
All right.
But, it's just her back, she said.
Okay. This is case 23 CR 0000870G, State versus Kenya, Lachelle Boynton Grigsby, accused of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they appear to be 2 counts of criminal trespass and 3 counts of willful obstruction of an officer from February 9th, 2023. Ms. Boynton Grigsby, you've been advised of your rights. Your attorney is Mr. Doties, and this is going to be a negotiated plea. Could you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Dillingham, what's the plea offer for Mr. Boynton?
Yes.
Ms. Boynton Grigsby, excuse me.
Yes, Your Honor. The state's offer is 12 months to serve 28 days, credit for time served 14 days, balance suspended with the stay away order from the MARTA station at 30 Alabama Street.
So she has to stay away from the entire 5 Point station?
Yes, Your Honor.
So she would have, in order to use the train, she can embark from or disembark from any station, but she cannot be physically embarking or disembarking at 5 Point Station. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And is this a concurrent sentence for all 5 charges or?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Doties, does your client agree to these terms, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
Yes, we do agree. We do stipulate to the 3 elements. I would ask if the state would be open to it, to changing the stay away to instead just be comply with all active MARTA suspensions.
That's fine, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Dillingham, is it all right? All active suspensions?
Yes, that's fine, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Dillingham.
All right, Ms. Boynton Grigsby, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No, Your Honor.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes.
And has it been explained that if you enter a guilty plea to these 5 charges, that you would have to give up your constitutional right to a trial, to go back to court and confront your accuser, challenge the state's evidence, and have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt? Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
How do you plead to the 5 counts brought against you, including the 2 counts of criminal trespass?
I'm guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 28 days, credit for time served 14 days. The balance is suspended. You have to stay away from all MARTA property in accordance with any active suspension. So
Yes, ma'am.
if there is an active suspension right now, you cannot return to any MARTA property, including buses and trains and their stations.
Okay.
You can check with the MARTA headquarters at Lindbergh Drive to make sure whether you have an active suspension against you. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Deputy Francois, are we ready with Mr. Lynch's case?
Yes, positions 2 and 3, Mr. Banks.
All right.
Thank you.
This is State versus Alfred Banks, 22 CR 007778E, in which he's accused of battery from May 2nd, 2022. Position 3 is 22 CR 007780E, in which he's accused of battery, family violence, criminal trespass causing damage to property, and theft by taking from a July 21st, 2022 incident. Mr. Mr. Banks, you have been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Mr. Owen Lynch, and this is going to be a negotiated plea hearing. Please raise your right hand.
Ready?
You solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge.
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Dillingham, what's the plea offer for positions 2 and 3?
Yes, Your Honor, for position 2, it's 12 months to serve 212 days, credit for time served 106 days. The FVIP course, my apologies, Your Honor, that's balance probated with the FVIP course. And no further contact with Trevoris Jones, Victoria Jones, or Charlene Jones, and a stay away order from their address of 2065 Allison Court, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia.
So this is a global offer for both cases?
That's for position 2. And then for position 3, the conditions are just slightly different due to the restitution. But yes, it is a global offer.
Restitution. Okay, I don't see a restitution in the documents. What's the restitution amount that you're seeking in position 3?
The restitution is $127. Your Honor, that is $105 for Miss Jones's phone, and then $22 for a new door lock that was broken.
All right, thank you.
So that was my understanding of the offer, which with one exception, but I think I understand what the difference is. Initially, it was sent over to me as 180 days to serve on both cases. And so he's got credit for 103 days. What was the amount of time you quoted, Ms. Dillingham?
So initially it was 180 days credit for time served, 84 days. Now it is 212 days credit for time served, 106 days.
So that's still, I understand. So it's still credit for time served for both.
It's just
Okay,
that
that's
offer
fine. I just
was-
wanted to make sure that.
He doesn't have any additional jail time for both cases at the present time.
That's my understanding. Sorry for the interruption.
No problem. And does he have any additional holds or matters holding him at jail?
He doesn't,
Okay,
not to my knowledge. And so my understanding is that he would be released to probation with to pay restitution and complete the FVIP course, stay away from that location, and the victims in both cases.
you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID for both cases.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Banks, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yeah.
Is anyone forcing you or inducing you to take a plea offer today?
No.
And you do understand that you'll be on probation for,
No.
well, 212 days. So you'll be on probation for less than 6 months.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, boy.
What?
Ms. Dillingham, you do understand the FVIP is a 24-week program, and he doesn't have 24 weeks left on his sentence.
Well, so with my understanding, maybe I'm wrong, but was the intent that he served the time, but the probationary periods would run consecutive, so he would have
6 months. Okay, as long as we're on the same page about that. Okay, all right. So, moving on, Mr. Banks, if you decide to plead guilty to both these cases, you would have to give up your constitutional right to go back to court, to have a trial before a judge or a jury, to be able to have the assistance of counsel, to confront your accuser, examine witnesses, challenge the state's evidence, and have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes.
How do you plead to one count of battery from May 2nd, 2022?
Yes.
Repeat.
Guilty.
Your sentence is going to be 12 months to serve 212 days, credit for time served 106 days, balance probated, in which you will do a domestic violence intervention program, stay away from 2065 Allison Court, and have no contact with Charlene Jones and Trevon Jones and
Victoria.
Victoria Jones. Okay. How do you plead to one count of battery, domestic violence, criminal trespass causing damage to property, and theft by taking from July 21st, 2022?
Yes.
Your sentence will be the same. 12 months to serve 212 days, credit for time served 106 days. We will give you credit for 106 days, which will be used for the calculation of the time that you have left on probation. So you will have ample time on probation where you have to report every month. You will begin the domestic violence intervention program within 60 days of being released at your expense. At all times while you're on probation, you have to stay away from 2065 Allison Court in Southwest Atlanta. Have no contact with Charlene, Trevon, and Victoria Jones, and not consume any alcohol, drugs, or possess any weapons or firearms. You are also to pay restitution for $127, and that payment must be made directly to your probation officer, who will then remit the funds to the appropriate victim. Do you have any questions?
No, thanks.
All right. You will report to probation next Thursday before 3 p.m. at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. Thank you. All right, Francois, I believe that concludes the SAP calendar at courtroom 2, yes?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you,
Uh,
Judge.
Thank you. We're going back to the South Annex. Who do we have, please?
For you is position 40, Judge Law. Her name is Weathers.
Weathersby, okay. This is Kayla Weathers, middle initial B, accused of theft by shoplifting from 23 CR 0000849Y. The alleged incident was on January 17th, 2023. Ms. Weathersby, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is going to be Mr. McLean. And Mr. McLean, this is going to be a negotiated plea. Ms. Weathers, please raise your right hand.
Oh, Your Honor, also, if I might, the state was going to get with me on another case number that involved a nearby location called Walmart involving a vacuum cleaner and a hoverboard. So I wondered if we were going to do a global.
Yes, it's not on the calendar, Your Honor, but that second case will have a time served offer as well, of course, with the stay away. I don't know if you had the chance to talk to your client, Mr. McLean, but.
Yes, we actually discussed both fact patterns, and that would be fine.
May I have the second case number?
Yes, I believe it is 23 CR 000068Y.
Correct.
And is it one count of theft by shoplifting
It is. What's
at the Walmart?
Yes, and I have the instant location for both cases.
You
All
see,
right.
Your Honor, the 5300 Windward Parkway is the Home Depot, 5200 Windward Parkway is the Walmart.
All right, well, y'all can articulate that in your plea recommendation, but I just want to be sure that I'm addressing both these cases. And Mr. McLean, you will have to submit the plea paperwork for both these cases.
Will do.
All right. So, Ms. Weathers, do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge? All
Yes,
right.
Your Honor.
Mr. Walker, what's the plea recommendation for 23 CR ending in 849Y and 23 CR ending in 68Y?
Okay, so for ending in 49Y, it is 12 months to serve, 30 days, credit for time served, 15 days, balance probated with the condition of a stay away at the Home Depot located at 5300 Windward Parkway in Alpharetta, Georgia, and an anti-theft course. For the case ending in 68Y, it is going to be an offer of time served, balance suspended with the stay away of Walmart at 5200 Windward Parkway. In time served 4 days, I'm sorry.
Time served 4 days, okay. So 12 months, serve 4 days, credit for time served 4 days?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. McLean, are these the terms to which your client has agreed, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID for both cases?
They are, we do. Much appreciated.
Ms. Weathers, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of is not good enough for me.
I just have a question. I have a no bond and I'm trying to figure out why. I have a no-
Ma'am, pleas of this nature put you on probation immediately. There is no bond that you need when you're on probation.
But I'm here. I can't get
You have
bonded
a-
out.
You have another case. That case and your lawyer will discuss it. It's a drug case. You and your lawyer will discuss your bond on that case.
Okay.
I thought you were clear on today will be taken care of in a way that is to your benefit. As you saw, you will be on probation. As soon as you are free, for whatever reason, making bond on your other case, whatever. As soon as you're free, within 48 hours, get in front of the probation department, a half a block from the courthouse. It's pretty simple.
Mr. McLean, I'm perplexed now. Are these the only two cases holding her at the Fulton County Jail, or are we talking about other cases?
She has another case, but it's a felony drug offense, which she's already preparing with a attorney with the public defender's office. She'll be fine on that case. They'll work that out. But that's in Superior Court. This takes care of all her felonies. All her misdemeanors.
Ms. Weathers, so this is, just to clarify, we are in the state court of Fulton County, which only prosecutes misdemeanor cases. We are addressing your misdemeanor theft by shoplifting charges.
Yes, ma'am.
So even though we say time served, it only applies to these two cases.
Yes,
If
ma'am.
you have any other open cases which I do not have the jurisdiction to address, that is something that you will have to take up with your other counsel.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
So again, I ask, have you understood everything that's going on so far?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes.
And has it been explained to you that if you plead guilty to the two theft by shoplifting charges brought against you in these two cases, you will have two theft by shoplifting convictions on your record?
Yes, ma'am.
And if you collect three or more, if you collect more than three if you have three shoplifting convictions on your record, a fourth arrest for shoplifting is automatically a felony.
Yes, ma'am.
And are you still willing to go forward freely, willingly, and knowingly?
Yes, ma'am.
In order for me to accept your guilty plea, you would have to give up your constitutional right to a trial, to go back to court, to confront your accuser, to challenge the state's evidence, to have the assistance of counsel to present any defenses you may need, to examine witnesses, as well as to have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to theft by shoplifting in 23 CR 849Y?
Guilty.
How do you plead to theft by shoplifting in 23 CR 68Y?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days, balance probated for you to complete an anti-theft class. You will report to probation within 7 days of being released so that you can begin your anti-theft class. Once you've completed your anti-theft class, your probation will be non-reporting.
Yes, ma'am.
All times you're to stay away from the Home Depot at Windward Parkway. I forgot the street number.
5,200 for Home Depot, 5,300 for Walmart.
Okay. 5,200 for Home Depot. Okay. In the other second case is 12 months to serve 4 days, credit for time served 4 days. And you will stay away, and that will be balance suspended, and you will stay away from the entire Walmart at 5,200 Windward Parkway.
Yes, ma'am.
Please remember to report to probation for the first misdemeanor case because you'll need to complete that anti-theft class as well.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you.
Next, we have position 38 and 39, Solano.
This is a negotiated plea, Your Honor.
State versus Samantha Solano. First one is 22 CR 005-137J, accused of criminal trespass and violation of certain rules at a bus, rail, or station from August 1st, 2022. Second case is a failure to appear warrant from January 5th, 2023, 23 FTA 109. Mr. Walker, we're going to null pros the FTA case.
Yes, we are, Your Honor.
All right, so moving forward with position 38. You've been, may I place you under oath? Ms. Salon, may I place you under oath?
Yes.
Ms. Solano,
Yes.
please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. So Mr. Walker is basically time served and stay away from where?
It could be remain compliant with any MARTA suspensions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. McLean, any thing to add?
Nothing to add, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, and stipulate to factual basis, venue and ID?
We do.
All right. Ms. Solano, your bench warrant case is going to be closed out, is not going to be pursued, so it's going to be what we call null pros. With the criminal trespass case and the violation of certain rules at the bus rail station, we're going to proceed with that matter. First of all, have you consumed any medication or alcohol?
No.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes.
And is anyone forcing you to take this plea today?
No.
If you decide to enter a guilty plea, you will have to give up your constitutional right to a trial, to confront your accuser, challenge the state's case, examine witnesses, and have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to case number 22 CR 005-137J?
Guilty.
Your sentence is going to be time served. You, if you don't have any other holds, you should be released within 24 hours. You have to stay away from all MARTA property in accordance with any active MARTA suspensions you have. You will have to check with MARTA headquarters at Lindbergh to verify any suspensions. Thank you.
Next, we have position 19, Ms. Knight.
I'm sorry, I did not get that position, Your Honor.
19 is Ms. Cassandra Knight.
Yes.
This is 23 CR 00840G. Ms. Knight is accused of simple battery domestic violence from February 9th, 2023. Ms. Knight, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Doties. This is Mr. Doties. Is this a plea?
Yes, Your Honor, this is the negotiated plea.
Ms. Knight, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Dillingham?
Yes, Your Honor, the state's recommendation in this case is 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days, balance probated with the FVIP course, no further contact with Joseph Capes, and a stay away order from his address 2229 Tiger Flowers Drive.
Is that in Atlanta?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Doties, does your client accept these terms, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
Yes, Your Honor, we did discuss this. This is our understanding. We do stipulate to the 3 elements. I would ask if the court would give Ms. Knight some assistance with probation fees. She will be living with her brother. She doesn't have her own housing at the moment. So to help her get on her feet while she prepares for the FVIP courses, we would just ask for some assistance on the probation fees.
I will waive for probation fees, but she has to report to probation every month for the rest of the 11 and a half months.
Understood, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Knight, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And is anyone forcing you or inducing you to take this plea today?
No,
And have you gone over the waiver of rights with your attorney?
yes,
So you understand that in order for me to accept this plea, you would have to give up your constitutional right to go back to court, to have a trial, to challenge the state's evidence, to present your own defenses, confront your accuser, examine witnesses, and have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to one count of simple battery domestic violence?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served, 15 days. You will report to probation next week on March 2nd, 2023, before 3 p.m. The location is 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta.
Okay.
And you must report there before 3 p.m.
Okay.
While on probation, you will complete a 24-week domestic violence intervention program at your expense, and you must begin those classes within 60 days of being released.
Okay.
You will report to probation every month. Your probation fees are waived. At all times, you are to have no contact with Joseph Capes, and you cannot return to his location at 2229 Tiger Flowers Drive in Atlanta, Georgia. You have to stay 200 yards away. That's the distance of 2 football fields. Understood?
Yes.
Thank you. Deputy, are we waiting on one other person?
Okay, the next one I have is position 41, Ms. Weems. She's on the 4th floor. Does she need to be present, Your Honor? Or it's gonna be a few minutes before I can get her?
All right, 41, I've got a note. This is Sakara Weems. Mr. McLean, is this going to be a negotiated plea?
It is.
All right, then we will need her.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and get her, and when you I may be in a competency breakout, but I will address it as soon as I'm done, okay?
Okay, do I need anybody from the composite calendar?
Mr. Howard, Mr. Walker?
As far as the females, Miss, no, I won't need anybody, Deputy Milton.
Okay, thank you. So give me,
We'll wait.
I should be back. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Howard, are we addressing anyone in courtroom 2?
No, I don't. There's one case, Judge, where the American Sign Language interpreter is on the Zoom. I'd asked the jail to, well, I think they're working on getting a phone to where Mr. Ballham is, so we can do a breakout. So with myself and the interpreter and the social worker with Mr. Ball. But other than that, Judge, no, I don't believe there's anybody in courtroom 2 we're going to need to address.
All right. Miss Grace, if you could place Mr. Derek Howard, Mr. Ian Walker, myself, and Kia Burgess in the breakout room, please. And the ASL interpreter, we will address that as soon as we have Mr. William Baum on the Zoom.
Yes, Your Honor. And if his attorney needs to speak with me in a separate room at any point, I'm more than willing.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you, Rick.
Okay, Judge.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kasha, place Kasha in the breakout room. Francois, we may have to mute courtroom 2. All right, let me see, I'm waiting on South Annex and I'm waiting on courtroom 2. Deputy Francois, do you have a Mr. Baum? William G. Baum, Baughm.
You muted for courtroom 2. You all are muted.
Yes, Judge Law, we're still looking into it.
Okay, and then I have another case, Mr. Schaffentender.
Yeah, Sean Hoffer, I think it is, Judge.
Schoenhofer, okay.
Yes.
Who else?
Position, Christopher Schoenhofer.
Sean Harper, let me.
Schoenhofer. Hofer.
It's actually pronounced, although what it looks like is Schoenhofer, it's actually pronounced Schoenhofer.
Schoenhofer, okay, there we go. I want him to take objection to.
Right.
Rick, sorry, we just have to see if we can get Mr. Baum to appear. While we're waiting for Deputy Francois to give us a status, let me just go over the calendar on positions on the SAP add-on. Positions 1, 2, and 3 were all pleased. Oh, we can mute courtroom 2, please. Thank you. On the main SAP calendar, position 1, Bannister. Has been a waiver of arraignment, so that case is going to be further notice to jail jury. And Mr. Dotis will file the waiver of arraignment for that one. Yes, Francois?
Yes, Sean Harper, he's gonna be a reset, because he refused to come.
All right. And what about Baum? William Baum?
William Baum, that was the interpreter?
Yes.
Okay, Norris. Hold on 1 second, Judge.
All right, Mr. Howard Schoenhofer refuses to come. I'll reset him to March 9th.
Okay, Judge.
Thank you. That's positions 2, 3, and 4. So we're still waiting on Mr. Baum.
And if courtroom 2 is able to pin the interpreter when Mr. Baum appears, I know that he and I would both appreciate that.
Okay.
Some of these boxes can get kind of small.
Okay, will do. Thank you. All right. Position 2.
Judge Law.
Yes.
I'm on my way to go get him. This is Officer Norris.
Okay.
We still gotta get on.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you. I'm just going to go over the SAP calendar while we're waiting. Mr. Dotis, you will file the waiver of arraignment in position 1. Okay, thank you. Position 2 and 3 and 4 were pleased. Position 5 is a null cross. Position 6 is Alan Boyce. Mr. Dotis?
Yes, Your Honor, I'll be filing a waiver of presence and arraignment.
Okay, thank you. So there'll be further notice to jail jury. Position 7 was a plea. Position 8 was a plea. Position 9 is reset to March 9th, pending the state's announcement of a null cross. That's Mr. Casimoro's second case. So, Ms. Dillingham, any status?
No, Your Honor, we're still waiting to hear back. That attorney is still in court.
Okay,
As soon as we hear back from her, we will get that handled.
All right, and if you can send the null cross as soon as possible, so Mr. Casimiro can be then released as soon as possible, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
And Your Honor, I just got a text message. They're going to submit the null process in court since they're actually in person.
For
position-
Casimiro?
For position 9,
Yeah,
Yeah, when I say her, ASG Giddings and the PD in the courtroom worked out a deal. And they're in court currently, and I just text them, and that null process will be submitted in person while they're in court today.
In which court?
Judge Edie.
Oh, Judge Edie. All right.
Yeah, so the division public defender, and this, I learned this on the counter, but the division public defender and the division ASG worked out something separate to SAP.
Mr. Doties, you might want to follow up with that to make sure that is filed in Judge Edie's division so that it's on Odyssey and Mr. Casimiro may then be processed out of the jail.
I'll double check. Thank you. I was under the impression that this had already been clarified before today, so I apologize for all the confusion.
No, no problem. So I'm going to remove it from the March 9th calendar.
Understood, Your Honor.
Thank you. Position 10 is reset. That's Joshua Casey per his private attorney to March 2nd. Pending a possible evaluation. Position 11 and 12 for please. Position 13, Brittany Fagan may be addressed as soon as they bring her. Oh no, this is reset to March 2nd, excuse me.
Yes, Your Honor, that I spoke with the division public defender for Ms. Fagan. She asked for a 1-week reset to control. She's currently working out a deal to put her into a program, is my understanding.
Okay. We will see her on March 2nd.
Thank you,
Positions 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 are all pleas. Check on. Position 19 is also a plea. Position 20 is a plea. 21 is a plea. 22 is a null pros. 23, 24 are null pros. 25 is 26 are pleas. 27. Oh, excuse me. Nicholas Marcus is not a plea. That's
Reset until, was it 3-2?
3-2, yeah. Sorry, Marcus is not a plea. Position 26 is reset to March 7. 27 and 28 and 29 and 26, 27, 28, 29. No, excuse me, 27. Let me get this straight. Mattox, Dion Mattox, 27, 28, 29. Mr. McLean, what are we doing with that case?
And Your Honor, that's my case. I had him last week. I tried to speak with him with a social worker, but we're going to request to set him onto the competency calendar.
Are you going to be requesting a evaluation order?
Yes, Your Honor, and I'll have that prepared to send to you as soon as possible.
Okay. That's probably going to be reset to the March 30th competency calendar. Mattox? March 30th competency calendar. All right, moving on to
Position 40.
okay. Oh, we'll be right there. We're almost finished here. Position 30, 31, 32 were pleas. 33, Taco Nash was arraigned and further notice for jail jury. 34 was a plea. 35, Justin Pulley. Mr. McLean?
Let's see, Foley was, reset, I believe, was he?
He's outsourced to Cobb. So do you know when he's coming back?
Yeah, did we do his case? Yeah, it was like
All right, we're gonna hold on position. Hold on position 35, 36, and 37. Is going to be reset to what, March 9th for, that's the case you have to talk with Miss Erin Richardson?
Yeah, just a week will be fine.
A week. I don't have space for a week.
He's gonna get,
We
well,
can do March 9th because there's no offer in position 37.
right,
Okay,
as soon as we can, yeah, back to 35, that was reset. 35 was reset a week.
a week. Okay, March 2nd. Pulley is reset March 2nd.
That's correct.
All right, 38, Salona, and 39, 38 was a plea, 39 was a null pros.
Correct.
40 Weathers was a plea, 41 Sacardo,
We're about to do that.
okay. And 42 Williams,
42 and 3, I've asked for a social worker to talk to her. I'm going to put in the request, but I'm asking the court to allow me time to get a social worker to her.
reset, yeah. Position 42 and 43 are going to be reset to March 9th pending an evaluation with a social worker. That would bring me back to position 41 Weems. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is 23 CR 0000868A. State versus Sakaro Danielle Weems, accused of simple battery at a public transit vehicle or station on February 9th, 2023. Ms. Weems, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of your case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Mr. Michael McLean. This is going to be a negotiated plea. May I place you under oath? Ms. Weems,
Yes, ma'am.
raise your right hand, your other right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm
I affirm that I swear, yeah,
that whatever you say will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
to the best of my knowledge.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Walker, what's the state's recommendation for Ms. Weems?
Yes, Your Honor, it's 12 months to serve 28 days, credit for time served 14 days, balance probated, stay away from the MARTA Arts Garden Center Station, an 8-week anger management course, and I did omit the no further contact, but the state is requesting a no further contact with the victim. Her name is Roxana Bibbiano, Bibbano.
That's correct. She's a stranger, so that's fine.
All right. Mr. McLean, does she accept these terms, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
She does. We do, Your Honor. My client is residentially challenged. I've noticed her address appears to be the 477 Peachtree Street for the mail. So she'll be checking her mail there. I've encouraged her to get the 8-week anger management done as soon as possible. It can actually be done quicker than 8 weeks if she finds somebody to give it to her for free. That would be great. But if she gets a job, she'll pay for it. But sometimes you can get them done in 4 hours at a chunk, and she can get done with it really quickly.
If she has no other holds, I will waive probation fees until the end of May. And then if she's done with the anger management classes, I will suspend the rest of probation.
That would be super.
All right, Ms. Weems, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am, I just been basically doing with and working with the way that the system supports me as far as my anger and my bad behavior.
Okay, just 1 second, Ms. Weems. Is that Mr. Baum right there? Okay, Rick, are you present? Yeah, okay.
Yes, Your Honor, I am present.
All right, Rick, do you solemnly swear and affirm that the information you translate using appropriate sign language is the truth and a correct translation with no changes or embellishments?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Howard, do you need a breakout with?
Yes.
All right. As soon as I'm done with my plea, we can place courtroom 2 in a breakout with Mr. Howard and Rick. And is Kasha going to be
Kasha, yeah, Kasha as well.
Okay.
Kasha work here.
All right. Give me a moment, Rick, please. Thank you. All right. Going back to Ms. Weems. Ms. Weems, with the information you just provided me, are you still able to understand the proceedings as they apply to your case?
Yes, ma'am, I have understood to not go back to those proceedings again. If I'll do claims, make sure that I report to get my probation set forth and see that the group start right away approximately. And if it's due to arrangements, do not show up around the same type of illegal action no more far as wherever I can help it in.
All right, Ms. Weems, have you spoken to your attorney?
I had spoken to Brad Barford, I think it starts with a B and a V in his name, yesterday for the first time. He told me that it will work out a situation today for us, but he's not in our presence, no ma'am.
Do you see Mr. Michael McLean on the screen? Mr. McLean, if you could please stand up and for just momentarily lower your mask if possible.
Hi there, Ms. Weems. How are you doing?
How you doing, lawyer?
Good.
Have you spoken to that attorney?
I spoke to him yesterday, yes, Your Honor.
And do you understand why you are here today?
I understand I'm here today to plead to agreement whether I'm guilty or not. And I already have, I plead to the guilty plea, and hopefully that will be all right for us to get an understanding there.
You are pleading guilty to a charge of simple battery at a MARTA station.
Yes, I know the plea. Yes, Your Honor.
And if you take this plea, if you enter a guilty plea, you have to stay away from that MARTA station.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I mean, yes, Your Honor. I understand that.
And you have to take 8 anger management classes.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I understand how many anger management classes I will have to take in 8 weeks or 8 days.
8. It's once a day for 8 weeks.
Okie doke.
And then you have to report to probation every month.
All right. So probation will last for 8 weeks.
Well, she is asking whether the court could allow.
2 weeks, 2 months, 2 months every month.
Every month. Every month.
All right.
And you have to start paying probation fees on June 1st if you don't finish your anger management classes.
All right.
So you have until the end of May to finish your anger management classes.
Okay, doke.
So now, do you understand what you are pleading guilty to?
To aggravated battery on a
simple battery.
Aggravated.
The charge is simple battery at a MARTA station.
Yes, ma'am. I understand what I'm pleading to.
Do you understand that you need to stay away from MARTA?
Yes, I understand that too, ma'am.
Do you understand that you need to do your
Ma'am,
anger
I
management?
understand that. I understand that. Trust me, I do.
You understand you have to report to probation?
Yes, I understand. I report to probation, but I don't have a legal way to keep an address. So where do I send a phone number to?
You have to give it to the probation officer when you meet her.
Oh, okay.
And that would be next week on Thursday before 3 p.m. All right, Ms. Weems, if you plead guilty, you would have to give up your right to go back to court and have a trial. Are you prepared to give up this right?
I'm prepared to plead and be found guilty.
Are you prepared to give up your constitutional right to have a trial?
No, I don't have I just want to plead guilty.
All right, Ms. Weems, I understand you want to plead guilty. But if you plead guilty, you will not be able to have a trial. You will never get a chance to challenge this charge. All right.
I want to plead guilty.
Mr. McLean, your client doesn't understand her waiver of rights.
I want to plead guilty. I know my rights, what you just gave, offered to me. I want to plead guilty.
So you need to answer my question then.
No, I don't want to be charged for a later on hearing. I'm just doing what what my lawyer told me to do, and that's plead guilty if I feel that way.
There's no problem. Sure.
Are you going to answer my question or are you going to just keep saying?
What's the next question?
Do you understand that you have a right to a trial?
I understand that I have a right to a trial. Yes, I do.
Do you understand that if you plead guilty, you have to give up that right to a trial?
Yes, I understand that.
And are you giving up your right to a trial?
I'm understanding that my lawyer told me it's best for me to go ahead and plead guilty if I did the crime.
I think the judge is asking you if you understand that by pleading guilty, you're convicting yourself. It's as if you're convicting yourself and there won't be a trial. You're not going to have a trial, so you don't need the trial rights, such as cross-examining witnesses, because there won't be any witnesses. We won't have that event. Is that event, the trial itself, something you're willing to give up entirely, knowing that it will never happen?
It don't make a difference to me. I just wanted to plead guilty. That's what I want to do.
Okay, and I'm not going to accept your guilty plea because you're not answering my questions.
All right, that's fine with me.
All right, we'll reset this to March 9th.
What's the date?
Today is the 23rd of February. Will be 2 weeks out.
Thank you very much.
All right. The next time you come before the judge, Ms. Weed,
Listen,
you need to understand what your.
ma'am, I don't want to hear your back talk, okay? Listen.
Ms.
Thank
Williams,
you.
Just mute.
Ms.
Listen.
Listen, next time I will listen.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
March 9th, please, for Sakaro Ween. All right, thank you, Milton. All right, moving back to courtroom 2, Miss Grace, we need to place courtroom 2. ASL interpreter, Derek Howard and Kasha in a breakout room, please.
Okay, Judge.
Thank you. And we'll be in a 10-minute recess and resume with this case. Thank you.
So we done? Are we done? Are we done?
No, he's taking a break.
You're doing a breakout? Lord, who wants to do a breakout?
Yeah.
Miss Grace, could you let the folks in the breakout room know that we are ready to address that case?
I'm sorry, Judge, what was that now? Was you
Let the folks in the breakout room know that we are ready to address that case.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. All right, it's been more than 10 minutes. Miss Grace, can you
Yes, I reached out. You want me just to close them out?
close it out? Tell them it's way past 10 minutes.
Okay.
All right.
And Judge,
Yes,
essentially,
sir.
we're asking for, we were able to get a lot of helpful information, but 323 reset, we've gotten some more information that may help us to better place him. So we're asking that it be reset to March 23rd. And then if we could go back into the breakout once you all are done off the call, so we can talk further.
Okay.
Mhm.
Case is reset to March 23rd.
Yes.
We're going to cease the live stream and the YouTube since and the
Okay.
recording since court is now adjourned.
Okay.
I'm
so-
sorry, what happened to position 41? Did we do that already?
Who was that?
41, just 1 second.
We might have. I'm sorry, it's been a long day.
Oh.
Oh, regular SAP calendar.
Oh, no, I don't think Mr. Walker's on my SAP calendar, so my day isn't even over yet. That case is reset to March 9th. That's Sakara Weems.
Okay.
Yeah, her plea hearing went south of the border.
I don't know how I forgot. Okay.
All right. There's been a lot of them. So, all right. Let me see, Miss Champion or Miss Grace, because we have a 2 o'clock Zoom. Is this something that you can accommodate Mr. Howard to continue with his breakout? Because otherwise the Zoom is canceled and everybody's out.
Yes, Judge, I can put them back in the breakout room.
All right, so
Just open up on the more selection and then select
Thank you, Judge.
all right, so everybody else, court's adjourned. The only folks that need to.
I don't think he
remain-
heard you, I think.
Everyone who remains is going to be Mr. Howard, Rick, our interpreter, courtroom 2, and Kasha. Everyone else is free to go. I've got to get ready for my 2 o'clock. So Miss Champion, Miss Grace, I'm going to let you counsel Mr. Howard on what he needs to do next for his breakout.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
All right,
All right, Judge.
everyone, have a good one. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge.
Derek,
Uh-huh.
Katrina say go to. Hit your more button. You can go back in the breakout room on your own.
The more button. I don't have one on this screen. I don't have that more. I know what you're talking about. Those little 3.
You should have more. You should have more.
Well,
But I'm gonna have to, cause courtroom, they're not there, so just. let me
yeah, I
move.
don't have an options button.
No, so move to,
I got apps, reactions, show captions, record, share screen, chat, participants, but no breakout room. I mean, no options or more. Have you already set it up? 'Cause I think it pops up once you. And
Right now, this is the interpreter speaking. Right now, I'm seeing that there are 8 different parties connected with us.
right.
So
They're
we're
trying-
not in a
They're
private-
they're trying to set up the private room, the Zoom, the breakout room.
Yeah.